We've talked a little bit about community and the tight-knit group here. I think those acquaintances and relationships probably played a key role into that.
The suspect is now booked on aggravated murder charges. This quiet neighborhood is now the center of a massive investigation and a community grieving two officers who didn't make it home. Live in Tremont, Eric Cabrera, KSL News Radio.
The neighborhood where this shooting happened is now in shock and utter disbelief.
I think we're still in shock.
Nanette and Chris Gamble live just 2 houses down from where the shooting happened.
It sounded like someone was working on their vehicle or it was fireworks.
I didn't register what it was.
But they soon found out this was much more serious.
Drones everywhere. Craziest thing was seeing like 50 cops, with their assault rifles, whatever, just running down the street.
Now, even with the dust settled, the Gambles say they still can't believe this really happened, but they say they are just grateful for the fallen officers.
I view these individuals as heroes because they kept our neighborhood safe. There's nothing that can be said more than that. I mean, it's horrible, it's sad. That feels empty and hollow, but there are heroes.
In Tremont and Adam Small, KSL News Radio.
Schools in Box Elder County don't start until next week, but today licensed clinical social workers will be available at several schools to support any students or families with their mental health. They say if anyone in the community needs support, feel free to visit Garland, McKinley, and Harris Intermediate Schools. Cities and law enforcement agencies from across the state are extending their condolences to those impacted by the loss in Tremont. Utah's senators are reacting as well. Senator John Curtis posted on X that he's heartbroken by the tragic loss and that his prayers are with their families, the wounded deputy, and all who serve to keep us safe. Senator Mike Lee posted the quote, "Greater love hath no man than this, that a man lay down his life for his friends." We are expecting a procession for the officers this afternoon, sometime after 3 o'clock. We'll continue to follow this throughout the afternoon and bring you the latest on air and online at KSLNewsRadio.com. KSL's top national stories. Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky is at the White House right now talking with President Trump about the ongoing war between Russia and Ukraine. President Trump says he doesn't think that there will be a ceasefire and the goal is long-term peace. He did not rule out the possibility of troops on the ground.
But we're going to work with Ukraine. We're going to work with everybody, and we're going to make sure that if there's peace, the peace is going to stay long-term. This is very long-term. We're not talking about a 2-year peace and then we end up in this mess again.
Last week, he met with Russian President Vladimir Putin and said a lot of progress was made. Presidents Trump and Putin are expected to have a phone call after this meeting with Zelensky. As this meeting of world leaders happens at the White House, we're learning details of new Russian strikes. Here's ABC News foreign correspondent Patrick Reevell on the security guarantee issue.
We know that European countries are again saying they're ready to put troops into Ukraine to act as guarantors after any ceasefire and peace agreement. But we've heard many times from the Russians that that is completely unacceptable to them. It's very hard to see as well how Vladimir Putin would be willing to accept some kind of meaningful Article 5-like guarantee. So I think the real question is, has President Trump managed to actually come up with some kind of formula that could be acceptable?
Other national stories KSL is following. Mail-in voting is the latest thing that President Trump wants to axe. KSL News Radio's Britt Johnson has more.
In a social media post this morning, President Trump says he's going to lead a movement to get rid of mail-in ballots. But that's our primary voting method here in Utah. Davis County Clerk Brian McKenzie says voting by mail is invaluable to many of our citizens.
A lot of times people look at vote by mail and are just thinking of it as a convenience factor. We have to recognize that there are a number of citizens in our communities that going to a polling location physically is a challenge.
But Utah County Clerk Aaron Davidson says he's seen the problems with mail-in voting firsthand when ballots in his county didn't get counted because the mail delivery was late.
Almost 1,300 voters that felt like they were turning in their ballot on time and they were disenfranchised.
Britt Johnson, KSL News Radio.
Time now for First Look Traffic. Good afternoon, Ricky.
Good afternoon, Maria. Nice and quiet on the Valley freeways at this time. In Wasatch, in the Park City area, I guess I should say, crews are still wrapping up a small accident. SR 248 Kearns Boulevard. This is near the Highway 40 junction. Ricky Meeson, the KSL Traffic Center.
KSL News Time, 12:05.
Jim Jr. here from RGS Exteriors. I want to tell you about our famous "You Don't Need a Warranty" warranty. That's right. It's a warranty you don't need, but we give it to you anyway. Let me explain. Most warranty problems for siding, gutters, and windows are caused by not installing stuff right in the first place. If you rush the work, cut corners, or use subpar materials, you're just begging for problems later. At RGS Exteriors, we don't tolerate careless workmanship. We slow down, focus on every detail, and use only the best materials. We prevent warranty work by doing the job right in the first place. That's why the 10-year everything guarantee we give you is also known as our "You don't need a warranty" warranty. We absolutely will be there if you need to use it. But honestly, you probably will never have to. Done right the first time. That's the RGS way. For siding, gutters, and windows, call 801-280-3110 or visit us at rgsexteriors.com.
At Trio Senior Living, older adults aren't slowing down. They're just getting started. The Prime Fit Wellness Program expands wellness beyond the gym into every aspect of community life. Whatever your goals, the team at Trio Senior Living has got your back, so you can put your best foot forward. Call 801-475-4004 today to schedule your personal visit.
It all started with a commitment to comfort. Gillette Heating and Air is proud to be Utah County's go-to team for expert HVAC and plumbing solutions. Need a repair, upgrade, or seasonal tune-up? Don't let cost hold you back. With 0% financing available, it's easy to get the work done now and pay later. Plus, save $100 on any repair over $500 and keep your system running strong with a professional tune-up before the heat hits. Visit GilletteHVAC.com or call 385-GET-COOL to book today. Homegrown service pros, financing made simple, comfort made easy.
Carrier, turn to the experts. A Carrier factory authorized dealer.
Thank you for joining us for Midday. Recapping our top story this half hour. 2 officers were killed in Tremont last night, and a third was injured while responding to a domestic disturbance. The suspect was taken into custody. KSL News Time 12:08. Another sheriff is speaking out against ICE recruitment policies. KSL News Radio's Alexandria Bonilla reports.
7 sheriff's offices have entered a 287G agreement partnership with ICE. But Tooele County Sheriff Paul Wimmer tells KSL TV he's not sure he wants to tell the agency the names of deputies who will be doing immigration training.
It's caused me to pause because I want the confidence that the names I provide aren't then going to be actively recruited by ICE.
There have reportedly been talks of $50,000 sign-on bonuses as well. Wimmer says he's now hoping for some transparency and clarification of what's going on and what's next. Alexandria Bonilla, KSL News Radio.
A lot of people showed up last night to watch the firefighting efforts along the benches above Provo. Kathy was among them, and she spoke with KSL TV.
So we just kind of got mesmerized. We meant to be up here about 30 minutes. It's been a couple hours probably.
Firefighters are asking people to stay away from the streets where they're working so that they can get the equipment in and out. And they also want to make it very clear that you are not allowed to fly drones anywhere near the fire. If drones are spotted, they have to ground their helicopters and airplanes that are working to contain the fire. At last check, the fire had burned 434 acres. The Green Canyon fire in Logan grew a few acres overnight, and now crews are watching for hot spots. Fire started at the mouth of the canyon. KSL TV reports people started packing their things, removing grasses, and watering the hillsides to prevent fires from coming close to their homes.
Look at all these incredible people that just walked up from the neighborhood to help out. Like, word spread really quickly, and all these incredible neighbors are just here helping us.
Fire is now around 10 acres, and crews are watching for any hot spots. Another fire that we're continuing to watch is the Willard Peak fire in North Ogden, which is now 56% contained. Forest Service fire crew putting out hot spots has downgraded to a local team, and that fire has burned 577 acres. Traffic and weather together. It's brought to you by Mountain America's My Style checking account, and here's Ricky Meese.
The small accident that we had in Summit County has been cleared on Kearns Boulevard, SR 248, near the Highway 40 junction. And in the valley, we are seeing a nice and quiet drive in progress. That's on the freeways and our main secondaries. So if you are traveling north or southbound I-15, you are good to go. That's from Ogden all the way to Provo. Common Spirit Hospitals, clinics, and caregivers, all connected to advanced healthcare in Colorado, Kansas, and Utah. Healthcare with human kindness is here. Hello, human kindness. Ricky Meese in the KSL Traffic Center.
Sunny, hot, and dry, folks. 95 this afternoon with blue skies. 99 tomorrow, mostly sunny. We push it to 100 degrees on Wednesday, partly cloudy skies. From the KSL Weather Center, I'm Matt Johnson.
A lot of sunshine, but it's pretty breezy out there. 90 degrees in downtown Salt Lake City. Coming up on Midday with Maria Shilaos, the community of Tremont heartbroken today after the death of those two officers. We'll talk to Tremont's mayor about how they are supporting each other through this tragedy. That's coming up, streaming live at KSLNewsRadio.com and on the app for KSL News Radio, sponsored by At Your Service Pros. We're Utah's news, traffic, and weather station. When it comes time for you to replace your AC or your furnace, you really want someone like the folks that I called. I called At Your Service Pros, and that's because they saved me as much money as possible. And right now, you need to know if your furnace is on its last leg or your AC is on its last leg, this is the time to really take action because there are some tax credits that are going to go away. There's a $2,600 federal tax credit, a $1,500 manufacturer rebate, plus there are rebates from your utility companies, and these are all expiring. And right now, you could save about $7,000 by taking advantage of them. I mean, At Your Service Pros, they actually texted me this last week and said, hey, send me your natural gas and your power bill so that we can get you these rebates. They actually did that for me. So At Your Service Pros are also offering right now to help you out with this 15 months, no interest. This is a family-owned company still providing fair pricing for anything HVAC, plumbing, or electrical related. A company that doesn't try to upsell you, and they really try to give you the very best information possible. They have a new YouTube channel, and they are giving you a chance to win a free air conditioner on YouTube. Just search Healthy Water and Air and watch that AC giveaway video and leave a comment. Call At Your Service Pros at 801-YOUR-PRO to get on their schedule now. 801-YOUR-PRO.
The power of we believes in you. It advocates for you. It completes your circle. It makes sure you have the strongest circle possible. And with Intermountain Health in yours, you'll always have the care you need to live the healthiest life possible. That's the power of we. Intermountain Health.
Hey, this is Dan, the laptop man from PC Laptops. Imagine struggling with a slow, outdated computer that takes forever to load anything, that randomly freezes up and is filled with viruses and malware.
Now picture yourself with a powerful desktop or laptop that runs smoothly and efficiently, making your work and entertainment seamless. Take one home today. The new 2025 S1 desktop or SM3 laptop for only $999. You heard that right, $999. You get a blazing fast processor, 16 gigs of RAM, and over a terabyte of blazing storage for $999. What else you get? Lifetime service warranty, and we have 12 months special financing on approved credit. Hurry in right now because supplies are limited because at PC Laptops, we love you. Just check us out at PCLaptops.com. $999, PCLaptops.com.
KSL News Time 12:15. The three things you need to know this hour. First,
A Tremonton neighborhood is now in shock and utter disbelief after last night's shooting that killed two local police officers. In Tremonton, I'm KSL News Radio's Adam Small.
Second, President Trump says he wants to end mail-in voting, but county clerks here in Utah say that will be tough since it's the state's primary voting method. Third, traffic and weather together, Ricky.
All quiet along the Wasatch Front. If you're traveling any of the Valley freeways, no accidents, no delays. Our main secondaries are looking pretty good. In Tooele County, we do have a little bit of construction slowing, and this is going from SR 36 northbound to connect to I-80. Ricky Meese in the KSL Traffic Center.
Mid-90s with sunshine today, but towards the end of the week, maybe a push of monsoon. I'm Matt Johnson.
It's a lot of wind out there this noon hour. Sunshine and 90 degrees at the KSL Common Spirit Health Studios. Time now for KSL's top national stories.
From ABC News, I'm Michelle Franzen. At the White House, key talks between President Trump and Ukraine's Volodymyr Zelensky and European leaders getting underway. The president says he remains optimistic they can make progress to end Russia's war in Ukraine.
We're going to have a meeting. I think if everything works out well today, we'll have a trilat. And I think there will be a reasonable chance of ending the war when we do that.
It follows President Trump's face-to-face with Russia's Vladimir Putin in Alaska on Friday. President Trump had threatened sanctions against Russia if Putin did not agree to a ceasefire. That did not happen. Now President Trump suggesting Zelensky give up land and agree not to join NATO to secure peace. ABC's Ian Pannell is in Kyiv, where Russia has carried out fresh attacks.
If Ukraine is put under pressure to cede the rest of Donbass and Luhansk, these are basically, think of them like states. These are the two states that make up the Donbass, which is the eastern part of the country. It's unacceptable. It's unsellable. It will not go through Parliament, which it would have to do, will not be ratified and not agreed upon.
The president also signaling the U.S. and Europe could offer Ukraine security guarantees similar to NATO's Article 5, but outside the alliance where Western countries come together if Ukraine is attacked. Hurricane Erin remains a Category 4 storm, with Erin's outer bands lashing Puerto Rico overnight. That storm expected to stay off the U.S. mainland, but dangerous rip currents are a threat along the East Coast. ABC's Ginger Z is tracking the hurricane.
What we anticipate is big-time waves. Waves, we're talking 8 to 12 feet all along the coast, not just in South and North Carolina, but up through Long Island, New Jersey, but also those rip currents. On top of it all, I can't emphasize enough, overwash in the Outer Banks or that erosion, also an issue.
Texas state Democrats returned to the state after dozens broke quorum 2 weeks ago in the special session to block a vote on Republican redrawn district maps that would give GOP 5 more seats ahead of the midterm elections. You're listening to ABC News.
Time for the KSL In-Depth. People in the city of Tremonton are mourning the loss of 2 officers today who were killed while responding to a domestic disturbance. A Box Elder County deputy and his K-9 were also shot but are expected to recover. Joining me now live is Tremonton Mayor Lyle Holmgren. Mayor, thank you so much for being with me today.
Thank you. Thank you for inviting me.
So give us your reaction. What was your reaction upon hearing this news?
I'm deeply saddened by this tragic and really senseless act of violence that claimed the lives of 2 of our police officers and wounded a county sheriff's deputy and a canine service dog. You know, these individuals wear the uniform each day and they're fully aware of the risks involved, but today we're reminded about their willingness to make this ultimate sacrifice.
Right. Describe for us what is happening in the community. How is the community reacting and rallying around your police department?
Well, there's an outpouring of love, and there's an outpouring of support for these families. We are deeply saddened by what has happened, but we want to let the families know that we are there for them and we support them. And, this is a tight-knit agency. We're a tight-knit group, whether it's the staff that works in the city office or if it's the fire department and EMS or whether it's a police department. We're all a very tight group, and so the loss just seems to be just that much more pronounced as a result of that.
Excuse me. We understand that you were out there with the department early this morning. Can you tell us a little bit about what you were doing to support them and what the mood was like there?
Well, we just I can't claim complete credit for all of this. One of our council members said we need to do something for these officers who are spending the night out watching over this area and securing the area. So we went out and just got burritos and breakfast for these people and took it over to them and told them how much we appreciate them.
Well, we appreciate you joining us, and our thoughts go out to your community. Our condolences go out to these families, and I know this affects everyone in such a small community, so thank you so much for being with me.
You're welcome. Thank you for inviting me.
And thank you. That is the mayor of Tremonton, Lyle Holmgren, joining us live on the KSL Newsline. Let's get you up to date now on traffic and weather. It's brought to you by Mountain America's My Style checking account. And what's happening, Ricky?
Salt Lake County Freeway is all clear, but up north we have a new accident. It's southbound I-15 near Pioneer Road in the Marriott-Slaterville area. You'll see several different vehicles, including emergency crews, pulled over to the right shoulder. So it's out of traffic, not causing any delay. Where you will see some slowdowns, it's due to road work. It's in Tooele County, northbound SR 36 near Lake Point, approaching the I-80 junction. A lot of crews are actually out in the road and intersection. They may even direct you through that area. So just keep an eye out for that while there is so much road work going on in Tooele County. Advanced Window Products, $2,500 off 10 windows or more. AdvancedWindows.com. Affordable windows guaranteed. Ricky Meese in the KSL Traffic Center.
KSL 7-day forecast, 95 today, hot and dry with sunshine. 99 tomorrow, pushing 100, mostly sunny. I think we'll do triple digits on Wednesday, but partly cloudy as a little bit of monsoon tries to return to the state. 96, partly cloudy skies with a 20% chance for a shower on Thursday. Friday's 97, partly cloudy. Saturday, chance for storms, 96. Wedding thunderstorms possible on Sunday, down to 92. From the KSL Weather Center, I'm Matt Johnson.
And a lot of sunshine, but very windy in downtown Salt Lake City and 90 degrees. The 7-day forecast is brought to you by Performance Automotive Bountiful. And a quick check of the markets at this hour. We're seeing a lot of red, but not by huge numbers. For example, the Dow down by about 58 points right now. Complete update of your money news is coming up next.
I am not a rich woman, but I feel like a rich woman every time I go in my closet. The best, hands down, present I've ever received was my husband secretly redid my closet with Closets by Design. So now when I go in there aren't all these shoes just junked on the floor. They're neatly sitting on their shelves. And my necklaces are hanging on their individual hooks, and earrings are in their little squares in this soft drawer that pulls out. It's just gorgeous. In fact, he saw how much I loved it. He had Closets by Design redo the garage. So now all the stuff, the tools, the toys, the junk is all in cabinets. When you open our garage door, you see cars. That's it. It's amazing. The things that Closets by Design can do, and it's going to save you money right now because you get up to 40% off plus an additional 15% off with 18-month financing. You can do so much with your closet, much more than you realize, with this wonderful Utah company, Closets by Design. Find out more at 1-800-BY-DESIGN or closetsbydesign.com.
What are you doing every day to support your liver? If you enjoy sweets, fast food, alcohol, or take any medications, that's a vital question to ask. Hi, I'm Sherry Torkas, pharmacist and health author. For over 30 years, I've helped people make informed decisions about their health, especially concerning prevention and long-term wellness. Supporting your liver isn't just a wellness trend, it's a daily essential. That's why I recommend Active Liver by New Nordic. It's made with plant-based ingredients like milk thistle, turmeric, and globe artichoke, herbs clinically studied for their protective and restorative effects on the liver. Active Liver blends traditional herbal wisdom with modern scientific research. Not all supplements are created equal. I trust Active Liver because it's backed by science, meets strict quality standards, and delivers true daily liver support.
Protect your liver and give it the support that it deserves by making Active Liver from New Nordic part of your daily wellness routine. Find Active Liver in stores at your local CVS, Meijer Grocery, or online at Amazon or NewNordicUSA.com.
Higher taxes, soaring inflation, record low interest rates, and the skyrocketing cost of healthcare. The list goes on. Retiring successfully today is a lot more complicated than ever before. Learn how you can tackle the biggest challenges that you'll face in retirement today. Don't miss a special edition of Retirement Solutions Radio. It's this Saturday afternoon at 3 o'clock, right here on KSL, News Radio 1027.
Any Hour Services can make sure your AC keeps you cool this summer. Whether you need a tune-up, repair, or just a second opinion about replacing it, call Any Hour Services or visit anyhourservices.com.
KSL News Time 1225. Despite some economic challenges, there are signs that the state's economy is staying strong.
A new report from the Salt Lake Chamber and the Kem C. Gardner Policy Institute shows uncertainty with tariffs and a slight raise in inflation isn't keeping Utahns from buying things.
I think anytime we look at economic reports these days, it's always a bit of a mixed bag. We wish that it was 100% good news, but we're grateful that it's not 100% bad news. The really good news for Utah is that we're performing better than almost every state out there.
Salt Lake Chamber President and CEO Derek Miller says one of the strongest parts of our economy comes from job growth that's more than twice the national average. Don Brinkerhoff, KSL News Radio.
Watching Utah's Money, Air Canada employees are still on strike. Attendants reportedly refused an order to return to work yesterday. They're asking for better wages. It leaves thousands of passengers stranded around the world. Australia's largest airline will pay a record-breaking more than $58 million for illegally firing around 1,800 staff members during the pandemic. Court claims it was not a commercial decision like the airline claims, and instead was to prevent the employees from unionizing. There was a great resignation, then quiet quitting, and now there's quiet cracking. Business Insider reports is when employees start slacking without meaning to because they don't like their jobs. The report says they report feeling underappreciated, underpaid, and overall unhappy, so they enter sort of a funk. And taking a look at your money at this moment, the Dow is now down by 45 points, about 10%, sitting at 44,900. S&P 500 down by 5 points, and the NASDAQ down by 14. Americans are putting less on their credit cards, but the benefits of certain cards is costing more. ABC's Sherry Preston explains.
New data from Visa and MasterCard shows credit card spending, while growing, isn't rising as fast as it had been. The slowdown coming as Americans have piled up more than $1 trillion in credit card debt. If you do use plastic, perks from those cards getting more expensive. More credit card companies are boosting the annual fees for cards that offer benefits like travel rewards. Sherry Preston, ABC News.
Some things never change. Sure, we've expanded Inside Sources to 3 hours on KSL, and it's on 9 to noon. But the news, traffic reports, and weather updates that have been a part of your ride in the car since before you can remember, always there. And that will never change. Find us in your car at 102.7 FM.
This is the story of the one. As a lineman, he does whatever it takes to keep the power on in his community. And he wants a partner like Grainger who does the same. Grainger offers the professional-grade products he needs, from voltage detectors to harnesses to hard hats, plus fast, dependable delivery, so he can rise to every challenge. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
If you love to travel, Capital One has a rewards credit card that's perfect for you. With the Capital One Venture X card, you earn unlimited double miles on everything you buy. Plus, you get premium benefits at a collection of luxury hotels when you book on Capital One Travel. And with Venture X, you get access to over 1,000 airport lounges worldwide. Open up a world of travel possibilities with the Capital One Venture X card. What's in your wallet?
Terms apply. Lounge access is subject to change. See CapitalOne.com for details.
Traffic and weather together brought to you by Mountain America's My Style checking account. And here's Ricky Meese.
A small accident out of traffic on the shoulder. This is in Weber County, southbound I-15 near Pioneer Road in the Marriott-Slaterville area. Really hasn't caused any kind of delay, even when more emergency crews were at the scene. So don't be surprised if you see maybe a little bit of busy traffic in the area, but no major delays. Salt Lake County freeways all seeing a good drive at this time. The Good Feet store, supporting you with comfort no matter what the day brings. Find the location nearest you at goodfeet.com. Ricky Meese in the KSL Traffic Center.
As you're heading out the door Saturday morning, temperatures will be in the low to mid 70s, so another very mild start. Afternoon highs will be in the low 90s. We'll see a mix of partly to mostly cloudy skies, and we'll keep a stray shower chance in the forecast, possibly an isolated thunderstorm again. Not much rain may come with this, but you could feel some gusty winds throughout the day. Second half of the weekend is sunny and dry with highs in the low 90s. From the KSL Weather Center, I'm Devin Mashuli.
You're listening to Midday with Maria Shilaos
on KSL News Radio, 102.7 FM and 1160 AM.
Good afternoon, KSL News Time 1230. KSL's top story this hour. 2 police officers are dead, and Box Elder County Sheriff's Deputy is recovering after they were shot in Tremont last night. Brigham City Police Chief Chad Reyes says that this happened after officers responded to a domestic disturbance call.
A male emerged from the residence with a firearm. The male opened fire on the officer, striking and killing the officer. A second officer with Tremont and Garland Police Department responded to assist the first and was immediately fired upon by the same male suspect.
Reyes got emotional talking about those officers' sacrifice.
These officers and their families served their community every day and will forever be remembered as heroes.
The Box Elder County Sheriff's Deputy and his service dog were also shot, but they are both expected to survive. The suspect in the Tremont shooting was taken into custody on suspicion of aggravated murder, which means that there is a possibility prosecutors could pursue this as a death penalty case. KSL News Radio's Randall Jepson has more of our team coverage on the shooting.
KSL legal analyst and Inside Sources host Greg Skorda says Weber County will handle the investigation and likely the prosecution of this case, and some big decisions will need to be made.
Under Utah law, there are about 24 circumstances that make a murder into an aggravated murder, which is eligible for the death penalty. One is if the victims are police officers in the performance of their duty. Another is if more than one person is killed.
Skorda says prosecutors work closely with officers, and in Box Elder County, the prosecutors likely knew the officers who were killed by name, which is why these big decisions, they'll be made in another jurisdiction. Randall Jepson, KSL News Radio.
The officers were responding to a possible domestic issue. Following up on these calls have been historically deadly. KSL News Radio's Alexandria Bonilla continues our team coverage.
A domestic issue can be a very emotional time for everyone involved, and former Salt Lake City Police Chief Chris Burbank says officers never really know what they're walking into.
Very rarely do you get a complete picture of what's going on in a domestic violence call. Usually that comes from the neighbors. Hey, we hear some noise, we hear some screaming, something like this. And then it's kind of go and investigate.
Burbank says if it's someone involved calling, that's still just one side of the issue. He adds that when that happens, the other parties involved usually aren't too happy the state is interjecting themselves into a personal relationship. It can channel those strong emotions and become dangerous for officers very quickly. Alexandria Bonilla, KSL News Radio.
We will go more in depth on this topic coming up at 12:45. Governor Spencer Cox is reacting to the news on X. He called it a terrible and tragic night, saying his support and prayers go out to the families and the fellow officers. He also asked that God bless all of those who put themselves in harm's way to keep us safe. There will be a procession for the officers as they travel from the medical examiner's office to their respective funeral homes. City of Tremont is asking people to hold flags along that procession route. It's expected to start sometime after 3. We will continue to follow this and bring you the very latest. KSL's top national stories. Governors of West Virginia, South Carolina, and Ohio have now committed to sending hundreds of National Guard troops to Washington, D.C. to help with law enforcement. ABC's Molo Langhi is in Washington.
Up to this point, we're told the guardsmen here have been unarmed, but defense officials say that could change if their orders change, if the nature of their mission changes, particularly as the Guard footprint is expected to grow throughout the city in the coming days.
Those new troops will be backing up the 800 D.C. National Guardsmen ordered by President Trump. Texas Democrats are ending their walkout as Republicans try to redraw the legislative maps and gain 5 more seats in Congress. The Texas Dems say their 2 conditions have been met: the adjournment of the first special session and the introduction of California's proposed redistricting maps. They say they also now plan to build a legal case against the discriminatory map. The Texas legislature reconvenes today for the second special legislative session. Some detainees at Florida's new immigration center say that they are not able to speak privately with their lawyers, one of several areas that they are asking a federal judge in Miami to address.
A group of detainees at the facility dubbed Alligator Alcatraz says they're being held incommunicado and that they're effectively barred from relief in court. They're asking a federal judge in Miami to order expanded legal access at the facility. Federal and state attorneys say an order's not necessary. They acknowledge there were early communications issues, but says they've been fixed and that there is now a designated court to consider the detainee arguments. Brian Clark, ABC News.
Fewer hunting and fishing licenses are being suspended in Utah, but wildlife officials say that's because they are focusing on big offenders. Department of Natural Resources Sergeant Devin Christensen says that they're looking for repeat offenders, not those who may have just made an accidental violation.
So we're more pursuing those that are blatantly disregarding the law, the really severe violators that are impacting wildlife numbers and species. That's more what we're looking at with our suspension rates in the last few years.
Christensen says you can report any violation to their Stop Poaching line. First look traffic. What's going on, Ricky Meese?
Well, traffic is suddenly kind of coming to a very slow crawl on southbound I-15 in Midvale, approaching 7200 south. Looking through the cameras, I can't see what's causing it, but if you're in Salt Lake County headed southbound, expect to see some backup as you're passing the south interchange. Ricky Meese in the KSL Traffic Center.
KSL News Time, 1236.
You've built the dream, the home, the lifestyle, the legacy. Now it's time your windows and doors reflect that same $1 million standard. Whether you're designing a stunning custom home or upgrading the one you've loved for years, Peach Doors and Windows is here to bring that vision to life with precision, style, and craftsmanship.
The Peach specialty? High-end custom windows and doors that don't just fit your space, they elevate it. From sleek modern lines to timeless elegant finishes, they offer the kinds of craftsmanship that truly complements a $1 million space. And with Peach, the process is easy. No pressure, no gimmicks, just knowledgeable experts helping you find solutions to turn your someday project into right now.
Visit their spacious showroom, get inspired, and create something beautiful together. Peach Doors and Windows for the $1 million home you live in and the $1 million feeling you deserve. Visit peachdoorsandwindows.com or call 801-566-1255 today.
That's Peach Windows and Doors. Give them a call, 801-566-1255.
KSL News Time, 1237. It's the first day back at University of Utah, and those with a concealed carry permit are now allowed to openly carry on campus. KSL News Radio's Brianna Willis has more.
The University of Utah's policy changed back in May, and the school says they have only changed to show they are in line with Utah state law. During the last legislative session, state law was changed to allow anyone 18 and older with a concealed carry permit to carry a gun on campus, including in an open carry style. The university previously has allowed those with a concealed carry permit to bring a weapon, but only if it remained concealed.
The university still encourages people to call campus police if you see someone with a gun on campus. If that person doesn't have a permit, then they could face up to a year in jail. Alpine teachers are getting additional first aid training as part of a new state law requiring school to be better prepared in the case of a shooting. Schools are now required to carry bleed kits, which include a tourniquet, and now teachers know how to use them. The new law allows or also asks schools to have armed guardians and teacher panic buttons. The bill's sponsor, Ryan Wilcox, tells KSL TV this is a response to parents worried about how safe their child is at school.
It depends on the principal in that school, whether or not they take it seriously. It depends on how old the school was, the design of the school, all these factors. That the real answer that we didn't want to give all these parents that were emailing and calling was, we don't know.
He says after these changes, they are better off than before. Class is back in session for students in the Davis School District today, and for some, that means breaking in 3 new buildings. KSL News Radio's Claire Scott reports.
The Davis School District says they needed to update 2 of their schools and build a new one to accommodate more students and give them a better learning experience.
Bountiful Elementary School, for instance, was only a 1-story school. It had very thin, narrow hallways.
That's Chris Williams with the school district. He says they renovated Bonneville Elementary and Sunset Junior High to have larger classrooms and hallways and bring in more light. He says Horizon Junior High in West Point is brand new.
It's just a beautiful school.
Claire Scott, KSL News Radio.
In addition to the Davis District, Canyons, Park City, Tooele, Wasatch County school districts also welcomed kids back to the classroom this morning, and the University of Utah is back in session. They kicked off classes today. Traffic and weather together. It's brought to you by Mountain America's My Style checking account. Let's check in with Ricky Meese.
Right now, I'm looking at a live shot of traffic slowing down in the Midvale area, southbound I-15. Not sure what's causing it. Of course, if you see, we have a texter now saying that slowdown on southbound I-15, it's a flat tire being changed about 100 feet past 7200 South's overpass. Thank you to that listener for giving us the heads up on that because it is out of the view of the traffic camera. So the good news is it's not an accident. The bad news is if you're traveling there, speeds will be reduced, but also be very careful going around the vehicle, and that's having a tire changed. That means pedestrians are near the roadway. Now, for those in Weber County, crews are still clearing the accident southbound I-15 in Marietta, Slaterville near Pioneer Road. It's been out of traffic the entire time. You're not going to see any kind of real delay. And Salt Lake City PD wrapping up a crash at 13th West and 3rd North. Ricky Meese in the KSL Traffic Center.
Hot today, but it gets even warmer. 95. Sunshine for your afternoon. 99 tomorrow, mostly sunny, and then partly cloudy. On Wednesday afternoon, maybe a mountain storm possible, but the high in the valley, 100 degrees. From the KSL Weather Center, I'm Matt Johnson.
A lot of sunshine, windy, 90 degrees in downtown Salt Lake City, and coming up on midday. Situations involving domestic violence can be extremely dangerous for police officers, just like we saw today with the deaths of 2 officers in Tremonton. We have more perspective on that from a former police chief. That's coming up, streaming live at kslnewsradio.com and on the app for KSL News Radio. We are Utah's news, traffic, and weather station.
It's time to get a new Bernina machine at Dave's Bernina in St. George and Provo.
Incredible August savings on the Bernina 770 Cape and 700 embroidery closeout machines. And you've got to see the exciting all-new Bernina entry-level and pro lineup machines with limited special introductory pricing. Save hundreds to thousands of dollars on select Bernina sewing, quilting, and embroidery machines and get special free bundles of accessories.
These free gift packages include items such as embroidery kits,
Presser feed set,
machine and travel cases,
embroidery software coupons,
books, ruler kits, and lots of accessories.
0% interest for 18 months on certain models. See store for details.
Come in now for bargains on trade-ins, classroom, and demo machines that come with warranties. Dave's Bernina, 691 East St. George Boulevard and 2017 North 550 West in Provo. Come see the Bernina 990, the most amazing revolutionary sewing machine in the world.
And it's on sale.
Hi, this is Doug Wright. For years now, I've been telling you about Connecticut soft water systems that use 2/3 less salt than the others. But I've never told you exactly how they do that. Well, there are several ways, so consider this as part 1 in a series. Most of the softeners out there use a finicky, hard-to-adjust computer to guesstimate when to cycle, and it errs on the side of cycling too often, which means it'll burn through way too much salt way too soon. Connecticut is different. It has an all-mechanical system that measures the water precisely. No computer, no guesstimating, so it cycles only when needed. The result, Connecticut delivers perfectly soft water 24/7 using minimal salt. So why not save your lower back from carrying the 3 bags of salt when all you need is 1? Call Northern Utah's authorized Connecticut dealer, Connecticut Quality Water Systems of Salt Lake. Call them now, 801-576-8600, or log on to softwaterutah.com and tell them Doug sent you.
Americans may not agree on much, but we agree on Social Security. We all pay in. It ought to be there when we need it. Social Security could face a funding gap in less than a decade, and I don't want to see a pay cut. I'm with AARP in the fight to protect the Social Security we earned.
Pledge to protect Social Security at aarp.org/weearnedit. That's aarp.org/weearnedit. Paid for by AARP.
Ready to elevate your everyday? Quince has the luxe staples insiders swear by, minus the markup. From 100% European linen styles and 14-karat gold jewelry to gorgeous leather bags and elevated home finds, Quince has it all. And by partnering directly with top artisans and ethical factories, Quince delivers premium quality at half the cost of similar brands. Discover everyday luxury without the markup at Quince. Go to quince.com/styleupgrade for free shipping and 365-day returns. Quince.com/styleupgrade.
On the surface, it seemed like just another Cinderella story.
The team that was predicted to finish dead last is now waiting to play the first round of the playoffs.
But Real Salt Lake's 2021 playoff run was so much more than what happened on the pitch.
Our club is burning to the ground.
This is the tip of the iceberg. Making of a Moment, the RSL story, is available now.
I just kind of got chills right now thinking about it.
Follow us at makingamomentpod.com or wherever you get your podcasts.
KSL News Time, 12:45. The three things you need to know this hour. First,
the officers shot and killed in Tremonton were reportedly responding to a domestic disturbance. Calls made more dangerous by a lack of details for police and the high emotions on the scene. I'm KSL News Radio's Alexandria Bonilla.
Second is the first day of school for the University of Utah, and this year it's legal to openly carry a firearm on campus with a concealed weapons permit. Third, traffic and weather together, Ricky.
A crash on I-15 in Marietta, Slaterville. It's on the southbound side near Pioneer Road. Hasn't really caused any problems since it is out of traffic over to the shoulder. A little bit of heavy and slow traffic southbound I-15 Murray and Midvale due to someone changing a flat tire to the right. Ricky Meese in the KSL Traffic Center.
High pressure still in control. I've got 95 today, sunny skies. 69 overnight, mostly clear. We'll go mostly sunny for your Tuesday, 99 degrees, potentially pushing to 100 on Wednesday, partly cloudy. From the KSL Weather Center, I'm Matt Johnson.
A lot of sunshine, 90 degrees at the KSL Common Spirit Health Studios. Time now for KSL's top national story.
This is a special report from ABC News. I'm Michelle Franzen. In the Oval Office, President Trump and Ukraine's President Zelensky addressing reporters ahead of their meeting on ending Russia's war in Ukraine. Zelensky thanking the president at today's meeting.
Thank you very much for your efforts. Personal efforts to stop killings and stop this war.
It follows President Trump's meeting with Russia's Vladimir Putin in Alaska. ABC's Rachel Scott says President Trump's shifting from demanding Russia agree to a ceasefire to signaling the U.S. could now offer NATO-like security guarantees to Ukraine.
The president is actually warming up to Zelensky's demand that he needs to see some sort of security guarantees, not only from the United States, but also our allies. The president very warm to that idea, and it's something that he clearly also communicated with Russian President Vladimir Putin. But you also heard there from Ukrainian President Zelensky when he was asked, what more do you need? He said, we need everything.
European leaders also there in support of Ukraine and will meet with Trump and Zelensky this afternoon. This is ABC News.
We do have breaking news on KSL News Radio. The suspect accused of shooting 3 law enforcement officers in Tremonton, killing 2 of them, is being identified. Booking records at the Weber County Jail show 33-year-old Ryan Bate was booked on suspicion of 2 charges of aggravated murder and 1 assault. Time for the KSL In-Depth. 2 Tremonton police officers were killed and a Box Elder County Sheriff's deputy and his canine were injured while responding to a possible domestic dispute last night. Former Salt Lake City Police Chief Chris Burbank says those kinds of calls can be especially dangerous for officers.
First and foremost, is very rarely do you get a complete picture of what's going on in a domestic violence call. Usually that comes from the neighbors. Hey, we hear some noise, we hear some screaming, something like this. And then it's kind of go and investigate. Or it's a one-sided, one member of the altercation calls and says, hey, this is what's happening. So again, you just get a one-sided version. And it is some of the most emotional times that anyone will ever experience in their life. Right? Fighting with a spouse, a loved one, or, even just someone that you're dating is a very intense process for people. The other thing that I think is important when you talk about domestic violence, we, the state, are interjecting ourselves into people's personal lives. And there's a lot of people who take affront to that. Right? It's fine to go deal with the crime on the street, but what goes on in my house, don't mess with.
Burbank says this issue is much larger than just what we are learning today.
We very easily, when circumstances such as this take place, or, lesser incidents, say, our hearts and minds go out to families, or we sympathize, right? Oh, we're sorry that happened. Well, it's not enough. It is absolutely not enough. We need to insist as the public that the laws are upheld, that we address mental health issues, that we address, right? Most of these circumstances, especially involving domestic violence, where they escalate to violence such as we saw in Tremonton, are circumstances that minor issues and problems have been observed by family members, by neighbors, and even in some cases by law enforcement. And we haven't done anything to successfully intervene until it gets to the point that tragedy occurs. And so we need to, I'm not a penalize, right? I'm not incarcerate everybody. But boy, we don't just let people get a pass. There needs to be counseling. There needs to be education. And this is something that should be talked about. When we talk about the importance of how do you raise your children, how do you raise, and I'm not talking young children, but older children, right? You should not accept someone being violent, demeaning. Right? This goes back to what goes on the internet. This goes back to dating relationships. Right? This is just not tolerable. And so at all levels, we need to say, no, we've had enough, and we're going to change this. Otherwise, we're not going to change the outcome.
Burbank says best way for the public to respond is to advocate for more mental health services and resources for victims of domestic violence. Traffic and weather together. It's brought to you by Mountain America's My Style checking account. And here's Ricky Meese.
We still have the cleanup that continues in Weber County, southbound I-15 with the crash at Pioneer Road. All vehicles remain out of traffic on the right shoulder, so even though we've had emergency crews at the scene, we haven't really seen any delay. The same for your Salt Lake County freeways, mostly delay-free, and where we had some backup, southbound I-15 approaching 7200 South, that is starting to improve. Try UTA and get more done while you ride. Games, work, books, shows. You'll be too busy to notice all the traffic you're missing. Plan your trip at rideuta.com. Ricky Meese in the KSL Traffic Center.
Taking a look at the forecast for the Wasatch Front, a high today of 95 degrees, a lot of sunshine, 99 tomorrow. Yeah, we're going to hit 100 on Wednesday with a very slight chance of showers, and that chance of showers generally increasing throughout the rest of the week. It looks like a 20% Thursday, 30% on Friday, and 40% next Saturday. Right now, 90 degrees, and the 7-day forecast is brought to you by Performance Automotive Bountiful.
Regardless of how old your air conditioner is, there are a few things you can do to help it last as many summers as possible. What's up, everybody? I'm Mike Wilson with Any Hour Services, and like so many things in our life, it's easy to take our air conditioner for granted. If you keep a clean filter, rinse the outdoor unit off every once in a while, and have it serviced once a summer, you can reduce your risk of unexpected breakdowns. But eventually it will break down, and if someone tells you that your only option is to replace it, don't be afraid to get a second opinion. You could save thousands of dollars repairing it instead of replacing it. Any Hour rarely comes across an air conditioner that just can't be repaired. That doesn't mean you won't choose to replace it anyway, but being told you don't have options, that's not cool. So if you want honest answers and straightforward options, give Any Hour Services a call. And remember, every week this summer, Any Hour Services is giving away an air conditioner to one lucky customer as part of our Coolest Summer Sweepstakes. No purchase is necessary. You can see official rules or schedule your service at anyhour.com. No one helps more homeowners than Any Hour Services.
Did you hear? A recent stash of $10 gold Liberty coins from the 1800s has been found. These gorgeous gold coins are as bright and shiny as the day they were struck in the late 1800s, and less than 200 of these gold coins are available. Coin experts are calling this gold find an incredible opportunity. Call 1-800-917-4635, and you are guaranteed a $10 gold Liberty coin minted by the U.S. Mint in the 1800s. But with extremely limited availability, you must call now. These gold Liberty coins from the 1800s are still in uncirculated condition. That is history you can hold in your hand. To learn more, call 1-800-917-4635. Call now and you'll receive a free American Coin Collector's Bonus Package, a $40 value, free with every order. Call 1-800-917-4635 now to secure your $10 gold Liberty coins dated from the 1800s before they sell out. That's 1-800-917-4635.
We do have breaking news on KSL News Radio. The Box Elder County Fair is canceling an event today after the shooting death of those two officers in Tremonton last night. Box Elder County Commissioners and the Fair Board are canceling the draft horse show that had been scheduled for tonight so that people can instead line the streets with American flags and blue ribbons along the procession route for those officers. They say that while the Box Elder County Fair will go on as planned tonight, they will pause to stand together as a community, remembering and honoring those who have given the ultimate sacrifice. Hurricane Aaron intensified overnight with powerful winds and heavy rain battering Puerto Rico. Let's get more now from ABC's meteorologist Ginger Z.
We expect that turn to the north and then northeast as we get into Thursday, Friday before it heads out and stays all the way away from the East Coast. You say, okay, so what's the problem? As these go north, they always broaden. They always push a lot of water. What it'll run into, that there is that front that we've been talking about since last week. That is what's going to help turn it to the north and east and keep it from making like an eye wall landfall, right? And so what we anticipate is big time waves.
Authorities are warning swimmers across the entire East Coast to be cautious because of the rough rip currents. Your money at this moment. Novo Nordisk shares are up after its popular weight loss drug Wegovy got approval to treat an advanced liver disease found in adults with liver fibrosis. It's the first GLP-1 drug to be authorized to treat that condition. In Ohio, Chick-fil-A is getting flack for a new policy. The restaurant is implementing a teen chaperone policy, which means anyone 17 and under must be accompanied by their parents, guardian, or adult over 21. The restaurant argues that they've always had this policy. They're working harder now to enforce it. More products are being advertised using AI, but not in a good way. Products on TikTok, Temu, and others are using it to make the products seem better. One TikTok showed what looked like ghost girls floating around a yard. When the user ordered the product and got it in the mail, it was just a little cardboard standee. No good. And taking a look at your money at this moment, the Dow at this moment down 29 points, sitting at 44,917. S&P down by just a fraction. The NASDAQ, though, just turning up 9 points. Weaponizing movie box offices, ABC's Chuck Severson has more.
She's to be locked up until she tells us what happened. Weapons, which scared its way to the top of the box office in its debut, managed to stay numero uno in its second weekend with an additional $25 million, bringing its domestic total to $89 million. Number 2?
Oh, that's interesting.
Disney's Freakier Friday, which reunites Jamie Lee Curtis and Lindsay Lohan for a sequel to their 2003 box office hit, earned $14.5 million. Nobody 2 was third, and the Fantastic Four, First Steps, fourth.
That is ABC's Chuck Severson reporting.
Andy, my husband, and I had Bedrock Quartz redo 3 bathrooms for us, 2 in the old house and 1 in the new house. And I loved working with them for so many reasons. One of which is that they're like a 4-generation family-owned business here in Utah that has been installing countertops and making beautiful kitchens and bathrooms for years and years.
Well, at my house, I suffer from what's called paralysis of choice. When you've got something as wide-ranging with the different types of counters that they offer with quartz, quartzite, like I didn't even know what the difference between those things are. I'm going to need that kind of help when I go through the process.
Oh, they have wonderful designers. Plus, when you go in their showrooms, it's super easy. At station number 1, you select your color and your material. Then you go to station number 2. And you pick out your backsplash, and then you go to number 3, and you select your faucets. It's so easy to do.
They've got what's called employee pricing for everyone. This is the first time they've ever offered this.
For the month of July through August, everyone gets the friends and family discount.
They've got 9 locations near you from Layton to St. George, including a new one in Salt Lake City. BedrockQuartz.com. That's BedrockQuartz.com.
You're listening to Leaf Filter Radio, and the guru of gutter protection himself, Chris Coonahan, is here to take your most pressing leaf-related questions.
Hey, everybody. Chris here. I understand we have Ron on the line. Ron, where are you calling from?
Uh-oh. Ron, are you calling from a ladder?
Well, I was. I wanted to ask Chris what I need to do to get my gutters ready to have Leaf Filter installed.
Oh, Ron, you don't have to do anything. A Leaf Filter Trusted Pro will come out and clean out your gutters, realign and seal your gutters, and install Leaf Filter, America's #1 gutter protection system.
So I didn't need to get on this ladder?
Ron, Leaf Filter Trusted Pros are in your neighborhood and ready to help. Just visit leaffilter.com/deal to schedule your free gutter inspection and get up to 30% off.
Thank goodness. What was that site?
That's leaffilter.com/deal for your free gutter inspection today. See representative for warranty details. Promotion is 20% off plus a 10% senior or military discount. 1 discount per household.
Respiratory virus season is quickly approaching, meaning we'll see more flu, COVID, and RSV in our community. The good news is vaccines are available that will help prevent these infections and keep people healthy. For flu and COVID, everyone aged 6 months and older are recommended to be vaccinated to help protect ourselves and our families against serious illness. Fall remains the best time to be vaccinated. Respiratory viruses circulate year-round, but peak late fall through winter. Your doctor can recommend which vaccines are best for you and your family.
Brought to you by Intermountain Health and KSL News Radio.
Traffic and weather brought to you by Mountain America's My Style checking account. And here's Ricky Meese.
Continues, but it's almost there. An accident southbound I-15 near Pioneer Road in Marriott-Slaterville for Weber County drivers. The rest of the Valley freeways, no accidents reported. A little busy northbound I-15 near 1300 South. When you need the financial products and services for every stage of life, Cyprus Credit Union is there for whatever the future holds. Visit cypruscu.com today. Ricky Meese in the KSL Traffic Center.
KSL FM Midvale, KSL Salt Lake City.
Tragedy in the small town of Tremont this morning. 2 police officers killed in the line of duty responding to a call as they work to protect their community.
Tragedies like these rock the entire community, state, and even nation. These officers and their families served their community every day and will forever be remembered as heroes.
The time is 1 o'clock on Monday, August 18th. It's midday. I'm Maria Shilaos. Coming up, the shock neighbors are feeling this afternoon and the support a grieving law enforcement community is getting from across the state today. Also this hour,
we're going to have a lasting peace. I hope it's going to be immediately. I hope it doesn't have to go on. And I think people of the whole world is going to be very happy when that's announced.
President Trump and Ukrainian President Zelensky meeting today discussing an end to the war with Russia. We'll have a live analysis on the talks and the future of the conflict. But first, our top stories. 2 police officers are dead and a 3rd officer and a K-9 have been wounded after an overnight shooting in Tremont. It started as a domestic dispute call. Police say they were able to take the suspect into custody after bystanders helped persuade him to put his weapon down. Congressman Blake Moore says today is a tragic one for the 1st District.
Anytime something really devastating happens in your district, you're completely you're powerless to do anything about it and to console the folks that do it. You put out a statement, call the mayor, but just as a reminder, the dangers that our law enforcement go through, it's just something to remember, I think, and so it's important to kind of reflect on it.
Moore speaking at a Sutherland Institute congressional series this afternoon. He says this kind of attack is shocking, no matter where it happens. Our top national story from ABC News. President Trump says he'll sign an executive order to get rid of mail-in ballots and voting machines, repeating claims that they lead to voter fraud. Those claims have been refuted by several courts, elections offices, audits, and other security checks in several elections.
We're going to start with an executive order that's being written right now by the best lawyers in the country to end mail-in ballots.
Supporters of in-person only voting say it reduces fraud. What would that mean in Utah? KSL News Radio's Britt Johnson found out.
President Trump says he's leading a movement to end mail-in ballots. Davis County Clerk Brian McKenzie says that would mean huge changes for us.
We do have some breaking news here on KSL News Radio. Leaders in Tremont are holding a press conference about some things that they want to see happen this afternoon as a result of the death of those officers.
Horse parade scheduled for tonight has been canceled. Instead, we invite those who had planned to participate in the horse parade and all the members of our community to join us in honoring the 2 officers who tragically lost their lives last night. Together, we can show our respect and support for their families by lining the streets with American flags and blue ribbons. Families are also welcomed together along the route in solidarity. The procession is expected approximately at 5:30 tonight and will follow the route. This route is exit Interstate 84 into Tremont, proceed west along Main Street, Borgstrom Brothers Highway. Then we will turn north onto 3rd East, and we will continue to the Rudd Funeral Home at 1234 South Main Street, Garland, Utah, where Officer 1 will be received. The procession will then proceed to the Allen's Funeral Home, 34 East Center Street, Logan, Utah, where Officer 2 will be received. The procession will follow on Highway 30 to Logan, onto Main Street, and then onto 34 East Center Street, While the Box Elder County Fair will go on as planned, tonight we pause to stand together as a community and remember and honor those who gave the ultimate sacrifice. We extend our deepest condolences to the families, friends, and colleagues of our fallen officers. We thank our community for joining us in this solemn moment of unity and respect. We love and appreciate our law enforcement officers and all that they do for us. Thank you.
We're listening to a news conference coming to us out of Tremonton, where they are now asking people to line the procession route
we will
for
do
the
that.
officers who were killed last night.
We've already got some bows and ribbons that have been given out. So, but yes, if somebody needs something, we're more than happy to provide those. At this point, we don't know. We will have more information. We're more interested. I mean, we love that. This is a wonderful, it's the 100th year. It was something we were really looking forward to, and we've done a lot of planning. But at this point, we need to rally around our officers and show them how much we love and support them and their families.
They're talking about the county fair events for tonight that are being canceled, and asking the community to come together and line the procession route where the officers' bodies will travel to the funeral home. They're asking people to display their American flags and blue ribbons and then line that funeral route. We continue to follow this tragedy in Box Elder County, where the 2 police officers were killed in the line of duty. A sheriff's deputy and his canine companion shot and wounded. The Tremont and Garland communities in mourning today. Thanks for tuning into Midday. I'm Maria Shilaos. We have special coverage on KSL News Radio. We begin with Eric Cabrera, who joins us live from Tremont this hour. And Eric, such a heartbreaking story with these 2 officers killed and another officer and a canine in the hospital. Can you start just by setting the scene for us?
Maria, absolutely. I'm standing at 700 North and 200 East here at the corner. Police tape still wraps the entire property. The windows are blown out. There's a trampoline in the front yard. There's tall weeds in the grass and a white pickup truck in the driveway. Neighbors are standing outside quietly on their phones. Some are driving by, watching investigators comb through the property, and detectives are collecting evidence, photographing the damage, and really piecing together everything that happened here last night.
Now, walk us through how this unfolded and what led up to the gunfire.
Sure. So police say it started just after 9 p.m. last night with multiple 911 hang-up calls from this address. When Tremont and Garland officers showed up, a man opened fire and ended up killing 2 of them. Then a Box Elder County deputy and his canine rolled up, but were also shot, and authorities say both survived and are in recovery.
Now, we understand that Chief Chad Reyes spoke this morning. What did he have to say?
Yes, Brigham City Police Chief Chad Reyes spoke on behalf of the Tremont and Garland Police Department. As you can imagine, they're still all processing this loss, and he said while getting choked up, tragedies like this don't just impact officers' families, they ripple through entire communities.
Tragedies like these rock the entire community, state, and even nation. These officers and their families served their community every day and will forever be remembered as heroes. Our thoughts and prayers are with the Tremont and Garland Police Department, Box Elder County Sheriff's Office, and the family of those involved. We're grateful for the swift response from multiple agencies from Box Elder, Weber, and Cache counties.
Eric, what do we know about how these officers were able to take the suspect into custody?
So that's where the closeness of this small town played a role. Chief Reyes says that fact actually helped convince the gunman to put down his weapon and surrender.
We've talked a little bit about community and the tight-knit group here. I think those acquaintances and relationships probably played a key role into that, into getting him to put down his weapons and surrender.
Such a heavy moment, Eric. Before we let you go, what's the feeling in that neighborhood right now?
You know, it's very somber, Maria. This is a quiet suburban block, but today, obviously, it's filled with investigators, police tape, and neighbors processing what happened. There was a couple here putting up blue ribbons and American flags on the trees nearby. People here are heartbroken. You can tell 2 officers didn't make it home, and the community is coming to grips with that loss. That
is KSL News Radio's Eric Cabrera live in Tremonton. Thanks, Eric. People living near where this shooting happened say that they can't believe what happened last night, and they've never experienced anything like it. KSL News Radio's Adam Small continues our special coverage.
When I found out what was going on, I thought, let's go back to Friday and Saturday and just leave this out of our lives.
Arlene Euler lives right next door to the home where the shooting happened. She says her family built her home 70 years ago and says nothing like this has ever happened here.
That's a high price to pay for doing your job.
A lot of adrenaline right now. I don't know. It's really hard. It's still very much a shock. Yeah.
It just doesn't seem real.
And super sad for the families.
Nanette and Chris Gamble live just a couple houses further.
All of a sudden, everything was just shut off. We were not able to go anywhere.
We came outside. Well, first we locked our doors because they were saying on the police scanner, shelter in place. And then we heard him say that the suspect was down and conscious, so we thought, oh, we're good. So we come outside and we're kind of looking, and then we hear the cops yelling, come out with your hands up, and we're like, oh, so we ran back inside because and then we stayed inside for a couple hours until we felt safe coming out. But drones everywhere. Craziest thing was seeing like 50 cops, with their assault rifles, whatever, just running down the street.
One of the nice things is last night all the neighbors were all texting each other, making sure we're all okay and everything. And so, I mean, that's how powerful the network we have here. It's just, we may not be the best of friends, but we're all looking out after each other.
The Gambles say despite how everyone's feeling right now, it's going to be important to rally together and support these officers' families.
I view these individuals as heroes because they kept our neighborhood safe. There's nothing that can be said more than that. I mean, it's horrible, it's sad. That feels empty and hollow, but there are heroes.
In Tremont and Adam Small, KSL News Radio.
Former Salt Lake City Police Chief Chris Burbank says that this kind of tragedy is especially hard on small police forces and small communities. He joined Utah's Morning News to talk about some of the thoughts that are probably running through the Tremont and Garland police chief's mind today.
There's personal relationships. There's what could have I done better? Should I sent more? Should we known? You second guess yourself, and I've been very fortunate, during my career that I never lost an officer feloniously to someone else. And but in a smaller police department, boy, that personal relationship, the chief knows these people well, probably lives and participates with them on a regular basis in different things. This is going to be really hard for this community for the next little while.
He says the emotional toll will continue to spread, not just among the police officers themselves, but among the law enforcement community as a whole. And he also thinks it's going to be difficult to process for investigators and prosecutors moving forward.
So difficult that you're going to spend time because there's going to be relationships there as well. And you're investigating officers and you start to think and second guess, should I be in this profession? Look at the risk involved in this profession. Look at the cost of this profession to society. These are all hard things that officers are going to struggle with, that investigators who are going to look firsthand upon the evidence and, photographs and everything else. These are not easy times. And so it is, again, for this community, we need to be supportive and understand that they're going through some difficult times over the next few months.
While all the legal processes play out, Burbank says this is a pivotal time for the community to rally around and support the fallen officers' families, plus the law enforcement officers left behind.
So I think the most important thing, and it's something that I've always been proud to be involved in and to know of and to see firsthand, as communities reach out and make sure that, officers' families have what they need, right? There are going to be children left behind. There are going to be spouses, and to make sure that they're cared for, that they have their needs. What we want to make sure, again, as I said earlier, this represents a failure of our society. Well, now is a chance to demonstrate, no, this society is not going to fail on these families, on this police department, and on the community, right? We need to heal. And not that it's a quick thing and not that it's an easy thing, but it's something that we need to be aware of.
KSL legal analyst and co-host of Inside Sources, Greg Skorda, says in this situation, it's very likely the suspect will face charges of aggravated murder. Right now, he's only booked on suspicion of aggravated murder. If officially charged and convicted, the suspect could face the death penalty.
He's booked in on what we call aggravated murder, which is a crime that carries a death penalty. And under Utah law, there are about 24 circumstances that make a murder into an aggravated murder, which is eligible for the death penalty. One is if the victims are police officers in the performance of their duty. Another is if more than one person is killed. So there are at least two potential aggravating factors if the Weber County attorney, which is handling the case because of potential conflict, decides to make this a capital case.
The case has been given to the Weber County District Attorney's Office.
You know, the law enforcement community is so tight, police and prosecutors. I was in that community for 8 years. As a prosecutor, you work with these cops every single day. They're in your office. So that's really hard. But to try to dissuade that as much as possible, the Box Elder County has given the investigation and probably the prosecution to Weber County, just because they're a little more distant from the officers involved. In that community, I would imagine they know the officers by name if you're ever a prosecutor up there.
We will continue to watch for official charges and bring you that information as soon as we get it. Among those left behind in this tragedy are the family members, the ones who will now have to go on without their loved ones due to this senseless killing. One person who's all too familiar with these emotions that these families are going through is Shante Johnson. Her husband, Draper Police Sergeant Derek Johnson, was killed in the line of duty in 2013 while responding to a car crash. She joined Inside Sources today to explain how the family is probably feeling today and then how they'll feel going forward.
They are devastated. This is just rocking their world. They're going to be in a lot of fog. They are going to be overwhelmed with the support that the community I know is going to provide and going. But yeah, this is just the worst day of their lives.
She spoke about the community response, the outpouring of love and support going on right now.
You know, we all just want to do our part, do a little something, anything we can do to help. And I always try to do that. I try to show up for the families and our departments in any way that I can, just to let them know that they're going to be okay and that they are loved beyond measure and that this is just a hard time and that we'll all be here for each other.
As the spouse of a fallen officer, Johnson says that there's a support system already in place among family of law enforcement officers, and it's that support that is so vital to pressing on with life.
Well, I mean, when you're out there taking these calls every day, knowing that at any moment, you know, you could be met with tragedy or, you know, something that's going to alter your life, these are the men and women who, you know, have your back, like literally. And so to know that you're leaning on that and that these people are there for you, then it literally is family. So, you know, when something happens like this and we all rally together and we build a fortress around each other and take care of one another and show up and then we'll be there forever and ever to take care of each other.
Johnson says this is a great example of why it's so important to live each day like it's your last. And why it's so important to remember that the men and women in uniform are simply doing what they can to protect the community.
You know, it's kind of like our health. We take it for granted until it's been jeopardized. We wake up and do the same thing every day. We know it in the back of our minds, but we try not to dwell on it. Otherwise, we probably would never sleep. But, you know, it's nerve-wracking. It is there. It's very real. But, you know, at some point we have to just realize that we trust their training and the officers that have been with them, and then there just is the crap that happens that we just have to deal with. But it's different for everyone else, but it's tough to send them out every day.
This afternoon, a procession will take the fallen officers from the Office of the Medical Examiner in Taylorsville back to Box Elder County. The community is invited to stand along the route beginning at 5:30 at the junction of I-84 and I-15 in Tremonton. Now, the route will carry the fallen officers to funeral homes in Garland and in Logan. We will continue to follow this story throughout the day and bring you any additional updates on air and online at KSLNewsRadio.com. Smoke rising due to a new wildfire burning in the mountains between Provo and Springville. The plume of smoke able to be seen around Utah Valley last night. We'll get an update on that situation after the break. But first, it's KSL Traffic. It's brought to you by Mountain America's MyStyle checking account. Ricky?
Another fire, this time a roadside fire in Summit County impacting traffic. It has closed the ramp from eastbound I-80 to westbound I-84 at the Echo Junction here in the valley. The final cleanup of a crash at Foothill Drive, 5th South, and an accident over to the right shoulder. This is southbound Bangerter Highway, about 2700 South Parkway Boulevard. No matter the weather, your feet can feel fantastic. Find the Good Feet location nearest you at goodfeet.com. Ricky Meese in the KSL Traffic Center.
Some things never change. Sure, we've expanded Inside Sources to 3 hours on KSL, and it's on 9 to noon. But the news, traffic reports, and weather updates that have been a part of your ride in the car since before you can remember, always there. And that will never change. Find us in your car at 102.7 FM.
Utah deserves better. If you just got a quote on a new furnace or air conditioner and felt like they were pushing you into something big and expensive, you're not the only one. A lot of home service companies here in Utah aren't really local anymore. They've been bought out by private equity groups focused on profits, not people. Here at Your Service Pros, we're different. We're Utah-based, family-owned, and built on trust, not sales quotas. We offer free second opinions on repairs or replacement because most people just want to know the truth. If your system can be repaired, we'll gladly fix it. But if it needs to be replaced, we'll show you your options, including a hybrid system with up to $6,650 in total rebates. We'll make sure you're getting the best price possible, not some inflated quote so our investors can get richer. At Your Service Pros has served Utah homeowners for over 20 years, and we're proud to have a 4.9-star rating from families just like yours. So call At Your Service Pros today at 801-YOUR-PRO. If you need a free second opinion on your heating, air, plumbing, or electrical, call 801-YOUR-PRO, because Utah deserves better.
An emergency can happen any second. Here's a few seconds to think about where you'd go. When you need medical care fast, the closest emergency room is a smart thing to know. Common Spirit Health ERs are your direct path between feeling scared or uncomfortable and feeling better. Find emergency care in your neighborhood at mountain.commonspirit.org.
Register for Jazz Youth Camps and Clinics, brought to you by PB Fit. Whether you're a beginner interested in learning basketball basics or an advanced player wanting to hone your skills and techniques, there's a camp for you. Let's go! All kids ages 4 to 17 are welcome. You'll get the chance to learn directly from Utah Jazz Camps and Clinics coaches and jazz personalities at select camps at various locations throughout Utah, even the Jazz Practice Facility. If you love the Jazz and the game of basketball, this is an opportunity you can't miss out on. Register for your spot now at jazzyouth.com.
When was the last time your vacation was living the art of adventure? Discover it in Cedar City, Utah. Towering red rocks, epic trails, summer events, and world-class drama at the Tony Award-winning Utah Shakespeare Festival starting June 17th with Macbeth, Antony and Cleopatra, and more. Marvel at nature's masterpieces with just a short drive to Zion, Bryce Canyon, Cedar Breaks, and Kolob Canyons. Discover Utah's earliest artists at the Parowan Gap Petroglyph site. Head up to Bryan Head for chairlift rides that deliver endless high-elevation views. Wildflower Meadows, topped off with ATV and downhill biking trails. Be starstruck by the skies at Cedar Breaks National Monument. Browse Cedar City's unique shops and indulge in savory bites. Come experience the art of adventure around every turn in Cedar City. Start planning your vacation right now at visitcedarcity.com.
I knew I was going to die that day.
Tonight on KSL.
You don't know what a monster looks like until it's too late.
A true crime investigation.
6 to 8 young women disappeared.
That isn't just digging up the past.
Your podcast is definitely helping push this investigation.
Get your first look at the podcast that's moving these cold cases forward.
Justice needs to be given to the voices that he silenced.
Stolen Voices, tonight at 10 on KSL and the KSL Plus app.
Americans may not agree on much, but we agree on Social Security. We all pay in. It ought to be there when we need it. Social Security could face a funding gap in less than a decade, and I don't want to see a pay cut. I'm with AARP in the fight to protect the Social Security we earned.
Pledge to protect Social Security at aarp.org/weearnedit. That's aarp.org/weearnedit. Paid for by AARP.
What was that? That is business phone bliss with the Ooma Cloud phone system. It handles all our voice, video, and messaging needs.
You sound very
calm. I am. Ooma has everything I need to run my business more efficiently, like virtual receptionist, call routing, and video conferencing. And it starts at just $19.95 per month per user, plus taxes and fees.
Ooma.
Nice. Find your business comm at ooma.com/radio.
Getting help with plumbing repairs is easier than you think. All you have to do is call Any Hour Services or schedule an appointment at anyhourservices.com. No one helps more homeowners than Any Hour Services.
When it comes to vaping, the truth can get clouded. So let's make it clear. Vaping is not safe for youth.
Because vaping can put microscopic particles into your lungs.
And dangerous things like metals into your body.
And nicotine, which can harm a person's brain development through their mid-20s.
With appealing flavors, high nicotine levels, and lots of promotion on social media,
many kids think vaping is harmless, but it's not.
So talk to your kids about the risks of vaping.
Because when you talk, they hear you.
Learn more at underagedrinking.samhsa.gov.
Hi, it's Tori DeVito. In every family, small conversations can make a big impact. Like when my dad shared his experiences as an alcoholic. Your honesty about that part of your life gave me a sense of integrity that I wanted to uphold in my own life.
I wanted you to know from someone who's been in recovery more than 30 years now that hard work is what creates success, not alcohol or other drugs. I said it a lot, and I'm glad you took it to heart.
Talk, they hear you. For more information, visit underagedrinking.samhsa.gov.
Question: what will you find on all over-the-counter or OTC medicine packages to help you choose the right drug and use it safely? The answer: the Drug Facts label. This label lists the medicine's active ingredients and purpose, how much to take, and warnings you should know before using it. Remember, even OTC medicines you buy without a prescription can cause side effects you don't want. So follow the information listed on the Drug Facts label. For more information, visit fda.gov/Drug Facts label. A message from the U.S. Food and Drug Administration.
At Social Security, we are always thinking of ways to save you time and make things easier. That's why we created My Social Security. Opening a My Social Security account gives you secure access to your personal record and interactive tools tailored for you. You can see if you are eligible to receive benefits, view spousal benefit estimates, and compare retirement benefit estimates at different ages or dates when you want to start receiving benefits. Already receiving benefits? Use your account to change your address, set up or change direct deposit, get a proof of income letter, and more. In most states, you can also request a replacement Social Security card. Save time. Go online. Open a My Social Security account at ssa.gov/myaccount. Social Security, securing today and tomorrow.
Produced at U.S. taxpayer expense.
College football season is just around the corner. KSL News Radio is your legacy home of the BYU Cougars, and tonight we are launching a new daily Cougar Track show to keep you up to speed with all things BYU sports.
Cannot wait. It's going to be a lot of fun every night, 6:30 p.m., talking BYU sports, obviously football, basketball. We're going to be focused on the teams that are on these airwaves, and it's going to be a whole lot of fun. Great interviews with players, coaches, and analysis and insight that I don't think you can find anywhere else. So I cannot wait to get this thing started.
KSL Sports BYU insider Mitch Harper will host that show. He joined Utah's Morning News to give a preview, all the things that you can look forward to in his nightly program.
30 minutes every night, so I'll take phone calls reacting to games on Mondays. We'll have great interviews with players, coaches, analysis, analysts, and I'm going to give my insight, intel, background knowledge of what's going on with these BYU sports teams. So it's going to be a lot of fun, 30 minutes every single night. It's just a great way to connect with BYU sports, and every Cougar fan can just connect at a deep, intense level to know everything they need to know about BYU sports this year.
One of the biggest things to watch with BYU football is their selection of a new quarterback. And Mitch says there are a few people leading out in that pack. Regardless of who BYU picks to lead the team, there are drawbacks and risks.
I think that both McKay Hillstead and Bear Bachmeyer can can win football games for BYU. I think the risk of starting a true freshman is that you have to go all in on him. You don't unseat him, even if there's struggles. And there's going to be probably games where it's a head-scratching performance against someone that you would think BYU should beat. That's the risk of a true freshman. Whereas McKay Hillstead, he's been in the program for a year, very talented, probably the best athlete in the quarterback unit. But you can't deny the talent, the potential of Bear Bachmeier. There's just been moments in camp where you see him and you think, man, if you can get that every single week, those type of throws, that arm, that size, that's pretty exciting. And he's a guy that fits quite well with the type of quarterbacks that Aaron Roderick has had a lot of success with. So I think it can work, but you just got to think that there's going to be some ups and downs when you're starting a true freshman. BYU's only started 8 true freshman quarterbacks in its history. Never has a true freshman started in week 1. So it would be historic if Bear Bachmeier does, in fact, get the nod 12 days from today.
You can hear more tonight beginning at 6:30 on the new nightly Cougar Track show right here on KSL News Radio. It's 1:30 midday at KSL News Radio. I'm Maria Shilaos. Some of the stories we are watching this hour. A major meeting between President Trump and European leaders this hour. More National Guard troops heading to Washington, D.C., and KSL traffic. Ricky?
A crash in Utah County southbound I-15 approaching 8th North in Orem. Maria?
And KSL's top local stories in 1 minute. First, ABC News.
This is a special report from ABC News. I'm Michelle Franzen. At the White House, President Trump hosting Ukraine's President Zelensky and European leaders on talks to end Russia's war in Ukraine. European leaders pushing for an immediate ceasefire. President Trump says after meeting with Russia's leader in Alaska last Friday, says lasting peace is now more likely.
All of us would obviously prefer an immediate ceasefire while we work on a lasting peace, and maybe something like that could happen. As of this moment, it's not happening, but President Zelensky and President Putin can talk a little bit more about that.
The president suggested Ukraine may have to do a land swap and agree not to join NATO. ABC's Ian Pannell is in Kyiv.
We should be very cautious about using President Trump's phrase, a land swap. I mean, Ukraine doesn't really have much land to claim back from Russia. I mean, tiny sliver at best. So there's no real deal to be done there.
The president says the U.S. would offer security guarantees. This is ABC News.
And we do have breaking news on KSL News Radio. We're learning the identities of 2 police officers killed while on duty in Tremont last night. Authorities say Sergeant Lee Sorensen and Officer Eric Estrada were responding to a domestic disturbance call at a home in Tremont when a man came out of the home and started shooting. Sorensen and Estrada were both killed. Another officer was injured. Police have identified the suspect as 33-year-old Ryan Bate. Those charges against Bate open the door to his investigation being a death penalty case. KSL News Radio's Randall Jepson has more.
KSL legal analyst and Inside Sources host Greg Skorda says under Utah law, killing police officers in the line of duty or killing more than 2 people, it makes someone eligible for the death penalty. In this case, both those requirements appear to have been met, and it will fall on prosecutors to decide how they want to move forward.
Weber County is now handling the investigation to avoid a conflict of interest because the Box Elder County prosecutors and investigators likely know the killed officers by name. The Box Elder County Fair is canceling an event tonight so that people can attend a procession for the 2 officers who were killed in Tremont. The Box Elder County Commissioners and the Fair Board are canceling the draft horse show that had been scheduled for tonight so people can instead line the streets for a procession.
Instead, we invite those who had planned to participate in the horse parade and all the members of our community to join us in honoring the 2 officers who tragically lost their lives last night.
The procession will exit Interstate 84 into Tremont and proceed west along Main Street to the Rudd Funeral Home for the first officer. Then the processional will continue to Allen's Funeral Home in Logan for the second officer. It will take place starting at 5:30. We will continue to follow this for you throughout the afternoon. Other local stories KSL is following. University of Utah has updated their policy for firearms on campus. Those with a concealed carry can now openly carry it.
It's the first day of school, and it might be surprising to see, but there could be students or faculty on campus with an open carry firearm. The University of Utah updated their policy in May, right after Utah lawmakers changed their policy on concealed weapons. Now, anyone who is 18 or older with a concealed carry permit can openly carry a firearm. However, they must have their permit with them. The university still asks people to call and report if they see anyone with a gun on campus, so campus police can check with them to be sure they have a permit. If you bring a gun to campus without a permit, you could spend up to a year in jail and pay a fine of up to $2,500. Other Utah universities say they follow state law. Utah is currently a constitutional carry state. Brianna Willis, KSL News Radio.
Your money at this moment, the Dow is down by about 40 points, sitting at 44,908. S&P down by 2 points, and the NASDAQ down by 3 points. Traffic and weather, it's brought to you by Mountain America's My Style checking account. Here's Ricky Meese.
The crash on I-15 in Orem has just cleared. It really didn't cause a problem since it was out of traffic on the shoulder. And we still have the clearing of the accident in West Valley, southbound Bangerter Highway, Parkway Boulevard. That's about 2700 South. Announcing Sharing Aloha. See the people behind Hawaii's #1 attraction, the Polynesian Cultural Center, in theaters August 29th. See the trailer, get tickets, win a Hawaiian getaway. Sharing Aloha, themovie.com. Ricky Meese in the KSL Traffic Center.
High today of 95 degrees, tomorrow 99, 100 by Wednesday, then a slight chance of showers for the rest of the week, up to a 40% chance by Saturday. 91 degrees at the KSL Common Spirit Health Studios.
The sources where we get our news matters.
When you listen to Utah's Morning News, we want you to feel the stories are important to you and trustworthy. This is Amanda Dixon.
And I'm Andy Farnsworth. Join us weekday mornings on KSL News Radio.
If you need new windows and you live in Utah, there's only one choice. There are other window companies, but they're more expensive, and their windows aren't made in Utah for Utah's ever-changing climate. Advanced Window Products has been building state-of-the-art windows right here in Salt Lake for 39 years. And since they're the factory, they cut out the middleman, and you save 30, even 40% on new windows. Plus, right now, as they book for fall, Advanced Windows will give you $2,500 off on 10 windows or more. They build the windows, install the windows, and guarantee them for life. And since they're right here in Utah, if you have a problem years from now, just call them. They'll come over. Advanced Windows offers 0% financing, buy now, pay later. They're affordable. Get your new windows and get the energy savings before we get to winter. $2,500 off. Call them, 801-850-9100. That's 801-850-9100, or go to advancedwindows.com.
Thinking about retirement? Make sure a My Social Security account is a part of your plan. A My Social Security account gives you secure access to your personal earnings history and benefit status. You can find out if you're eligible to receive benefits, compare retirement benefit estimates at different ages or dates, view spousal benefit estimates, and more. Plan for your future. Open a My Social Security account at ssa.gov/myaccount. Social Security, securing today and tomorrow.
Produced at U.S. taxpayer expense.
You are listening to Midday. I'm Maria Shilaos. Right now, a major meeting at the White House between President Trump and Ukrainian President Zelensky. European leaders also in attendance. The discussion centering around the Ukrainian-Russian war and what it would take to secure a peace deal and end the war. It follows Friday's summit in Alaska between President Trump and Russian President Vladimir Putin. President Trump today.
We're going to have a lasting peace. I hope it's going to be immediately. I hope it doesn't have to go on. And I think people of the whole world is going to be very happy when that's announced.
Joining me now to provide some insights into these talks is Megan Reese, non-resident senior fellow at the Scowcroft Center for Strategy and Security and the founder and CEO of Solid Intel. Megan, what do you make of these recent meetings, the one on Friday and today's?
So these meetings are honestly not terribly surprising. Trump's been wanting to push for some sort of peace deal since before he was reelected as president. And what we saw was a really, really strong push by Putin to get even more than he has at the moment as far as a land grab for Ukraine. And so the result ended up being a scrambling of European leaders to get in front of Trump to make sure that Putin did not have the last word or sway him in understanding who the bad guy is in this situation, which is Putin and Russia.
So do you see any lasting peace coming out of these talks?
I think that this will be likely the start of many conversations, and the idea that it will go from, a full war to peace in a week seems quite unlikely, especially as Putin is rejecting the idea of a temporary ceasefire or a temporary halt in fighting as they negotiate terms of peace. But you will see some initial cards on the table from both Russian and the Ukrainian and European sides to start understanding what might be necessary to get to either ending fighting, getting some sort of American security guarantees, et cetera, and ideally moving towards some end to this really bloody battle.
We heard from several sources over the weekend that Putin wants Ukraine to give up the Donetsk region in order to end the war. Now, give us your thoughts on this request and what it could mean if it happens or doesn't happen.
So Putin is demanding both full turnover of this region, Crimea, some other parts, in exchange for no longer fighting against Ukraine, as well as not invading other countries. Now, I'm a student of history and a skeptic. These sorts of agreements have been made by Putin in the past. And we actually had a Budapest memorandum in 1994 that gave essentially security guarantees to Ukraine and a guarantee of not invading Ukraine as long as they gave up nuclear weapons from Russia as well as from Europe. Note that it's Russia that violated the Budapest memorandum. And so I don't fully believe Putin or take him by his word. He's invaded other areas before. And so we need to take these claims with a needed air of skepticism. This is not a good actor.
You mentioned he would do that and not invade other areas. Is there a chance right now, or is there some sort of risk right now that he could invade other areas?
There are some Russian more pro-Russian regions or regions that Putin has claimed as needing to be part of Russia again. Again, it's not really Russia. It was the Soviet Union, but Putin does have a strong desire to reconstitute the Soviet Union. So you'll see everything from some more Western regions, as well as areas like in the far east part of Estonia and some others that are actually part of NATO, that are actually very concerned about this. And it tends to be Russian-speaking persons that live there. You also saw Finland and Sweden join NATO because of this exact concern. So there is a pretty strong underlying current of concern from Eastern Europe that Putin would want to invade other areas.
Megan, appreciate your help. Thanks for being with me. That is Megan Reese, the founder and CEO of Solid Intel. Midday continues in just 60 seconds.
Hi, this is Derek Overstreet, president of the New Millennium Group and co-host of Stop Working, Start Living with KSL News Radio. Can you imagine what your life would be like if you could retire 3 to 5 years earlier than you thought possible? The things you could do, the loved ones you could spend time with, the memories that you could create. That's what our team at the New Millennium Group does. We'll walk you through the entire process every step of the way. If you'd like to get a copy of the 5-step proprietary plan that will help you retire 3 to 5 years sooner than you thought possible, give us a shout right now. 888-999-6370. That's 888-999-6370 or utahsfinancialplanner.com. Listen, most of our listeners right now have a tax problem, not a money problem. There's not enough money in Social Security Medicare as it is. Let us show you how you can significantly reduce your taxes. That's 888-999-6370, 888-999-6370 or utahsfinancialplanner.com.
Hundreds more National Guard troops are headed to the nation's capital in response to President Trump's takeover of the D.C. police force to fight crime. The troops coming from Republican-led states, even as D.C. residents question the need for them. A look at the deployment on the Start Here podcast with Brad Milkey.
Our capital city has been overtaken by violent gangs and bloodthirsty criminals, roving mobs of wild youth, drugged-out maniacs and homeless people. And we're not going to let it happen anymore. We're not going to take it.
Well, last week, President Trump called in the D.C. National Guard to help police handle what he calls a crime emergency, despite local police stats showing violent crime significantly down over the last year.
The action that the president has taken this week is not the answer.
Hundreds of troops were called in over the protest of some local officials. Now, hundreds more could be deployed from other states who happen to be led by Republicans. ABC's Ann Flaherty covers the Pentagon for us in Washington. And I guess, which states are sending troops and how many are they sending?
Hundreds of troops are coming in from West Virginia. They started to arrive over the weekend. There's about 350 of them that are being added to the 826 already in D.C., already mobilized. So that puts us at about, close to 1,200 troops. Then we got word that South Carolina and Ohio governors had also gotten the request from the Pentagon to send more troops. Ohio Governor Mike DeWine said in a statement that he plans to send 150 military police from the Ohio National Guard. South Carolina Governor Henry McMaster said in a statement he's sending about 200 personnel. So you can see this is ballooning very quickly.
Right now, the troops are unarmed and are patrolling different high-profile areas of the city in shifts. There is no indication as to how many Guard troops may be called in the coming days. Now, their arrival is creating more confusion about their mission.
Honestly, it seems like a bunch of smoke and mirrors, if you ask me.
All of this has a lot of D.C. residents kind of scratching their head because they don't see a crisis. You can remember that the troop deployments in Los Angeles was done in response to the immigration protests.
We're not going to lose our cities over this, and this will go further.
President Trump says this is in direct response to crime rates in D.C. We haven't seen an increase in crime rates. Crime is not where anyone wants it to be, but this is a city that is not in crisis at this time, and yet we see this deployment growing. So, when you talk to the National Guard, they say, we're the Swiss Army knife of, military personnel. When you call us up, we can do everything. Watch what we did in COVID. We drove buses and we can fill out paperwork and free up the law enforcement to do anything that they need to be doing. Their mission is very clear. It's just anything that law enforcement needs at that time.
Because law enforcement in D.C. is now under the control of President Trump as well, right? That's why.
Yeah, then that's an important point. So, he is now directly in charge of the city's security and safety, which, he says he's going to make it better. Local officials are saying, there's no doubt that our police force needs additional resources, and we will gladly take them.
Chief Smith's job during this week has been to make sure that if we have and while we have federal officers, that they are being used strategically.
So far, what we've seen are, a few dozen of these personnel hanging out around Union Station, National Mall. So, a big question here, is this being done for show?
What's your purpose? What's your goal? What's the motive?
ABC's Ann Flaherty telling Brad Milkey, everyone is wondering what's going to happen next.
Could a state, in this case a blue state, conceivably get overwhelmed by the will of other states with literal troops in the streets?
It feels very much like a political deployment. I think absolutely, and I don't think many people are going to argue with that. I think this comes down to two big issues, which is, one, the power of the president. How much authority does he have to take over these democratically controlled areas? And two, the militarization of police.
Get off our streets! Get off our streets!
How much do you want to see military troops in the streets helping police, keep law and order? America has a tradition that we keep those separate, that we don't use military power against American citizens. They are trained in warfare, so you don't want that necessarily in your streets. But at the same time, President Trump saying, this is how I'm going to make America safe, it is red meat to his base.
West Virginia, Ohio, and South Carolina all sending their troops to the D.C. area. Fewer hunting licenses being suspended in Utah. I'll tell you why next. But first, it's KSL Traffic. It's brought to you by Mountain America's My Style checking account. Here's Ricky Meese.
For those who are traveling in West Valley, we have a small accident southbound Bangerter Highway at Parkway Boulevard. That's a little south of the 201 junction, but it has been out of traffic the entire time on the shoulder. Valley Freeway traffic delay-free at this time. Ricky Meese in the KSL Traffic Center.
If you've hit that point in time where you've just had it with those extra pounds that you are carrying around, I want to tell you something that has worked for me and why it's worked for me. And it is Salt Lake City Fat Loss. I've lost more than 40 pounds with this great program. I'm in maintenance, working to keep it off every day. But the great thing about Salt Lake City Fat Loss is they don't abandon you in maintenance. They help to make sure that you stay accountable and know those things to help you keep that weight off long term. This program resets your metabolism and you're able to lose the weight without working out for more than an hour a day. So if you're a very busy person, this is a great plan for you. It's easy to follow, all natural, and with great resources to keep you accountable. There are no injections or surgery or pills, so you don't have to worry about any side effects. Again, I've lost more than 40 pounds, but many of their clients lose up to a pound per day. Save $200 now. Find out how at slcfatloss.com. You can also call them at 801-450-1882. That's slcfatloss.com, slcfatloss.com.
KSL Broadcast Group contests are open to participants 18 years of age and older that are residents of Utah, unless otherwise specified. Employees or agents of the station, Bonneville International Corporation, other area radio stations, or any entity associated with the contest may not enter. Persons who have won in the last 30, 60, or 90 days from a station contest or event may not be eligible. Full general contest rules are available at kslnewsradio.com/contests.
You hear that? That's the sound of your business losing money. Legacy phone systems weren't built for today's teams. OpenPhone gives your business a smarter way to stay connected. OpenPhone lets you manage calls, texts, voicemail, and contacts all in one place so that you and your team can deliver a seamless customer experience from ring to... Need to take calls on the go? OpenPhone automatically transcribes, summarizes, and highlights next steps from every call, so you never miss a detail. Need insight into what closes a sale? With OpenPhone's AI call tags, you can instantly spot key topics like objections or pricing questions, and use those insights to coach your team and level up every customer interaction. And yes, you can bring your existing number with you for free. Keep your team in sync and your customers happy with OpenPhone. OpenPhone. No missed calls, no missed customers. Try OpenPhone for free at openphone.com/try and get 20% off your first 6 months. That's openphone.com/try. openphone.com/TRY.
At Intermountain Health, we believe life is a circle. May yours surround you with insight, a healthy perspective, trust, and reassurance. The belief that our differences aren't that different, and compassion just when you need it most. Life is a circle. May yours help you live the healthiest life possible. Intermountain Health.
Mom and Dad used to argue about everything, especially about Dad's drinking. It drove me crazy. It got so bad, I couldn't do my homework. I couldn't concentrate. I absolutely refused to let any of my friends come to our house for any reason. I would have been humiliated if anyone found out how much my dad drank and how loud my mom screamed at him. My family went from totally crazy to quiet, calm, and even peaceful. The only thing that happened is my mom started going to Al-Anon family groups. Her relationship with my dad really changed. I asked Mom if she would take me to her Al-Anon meetings, or to Alateen. I wanted to see if I could have a better relationship with my dad. I'm sure glad I did. If someone's drinking troubling you, you might be surprised at what you can learn in an Al-Anon or Alateen family group from people just like you. Call 1-888-4-ALANON or go to alanon.org.
This is Midday. I'm Maria Shilaos. Fewer people are losing their hunting and fishing licenses due to violations in Utah. Wildlife officials say the reason is a change in enforcement policy. Department of Natural Resources Sergeant Devin Christensen tells KSL News Radio's Josue Sanchez that they are focusing on poachers and repeated offenders.
We're more pursuing those who are blatantly
disregarding the law, over limits, that sort of thing. So in 2023, 2024, there were 54 license suspensions, which in some of the previous years, I think we had a high in 2018 of 88 license suspensions. And in 2024, we had 54 license suspensions. But the total of those years, of those 54, is 261 years. So a lot of those were very egregious violations versus maybe a 1-year suspension for an over limit or an unlawful take of protected wildlife, a certain fish. So we're more pursuing those that are blatantly disregarding the law, the really severe violators that are impacting wildlife numbers and species. That's more what we're looking at with our suspension rates in the last few years.
He says they won't suspend licenses over a simple mistake, but Sergeant Christensen says hunters need to take some extra precautions to ensure that they're acting safely and within the law.
One thing we teach everybody who goes through hunter education is to be sure of your target and what's beyond it, right? Like we can't, once we pull the trigger, once we release that arrow, we can't call it back. It's out there. So make sure you know what you're looking at, what you're shooting at. Make sure, if you have a spike tag, what you're going to shoot is the spike. If you have an antlerless elk tag, commonly called a cow tag, make sure it's a cow. Just make sure you really take your time, you look, and you're aware. Also, read your permit, look to see the dates, the date on it, the species, because sometimes you can get mailed out the wrong thing. We see people all the time. We go to check their license out in the field. They're out deer hunting. And they open the envelope it came in, and they've never looked at it. Like, what doesn't have your name on it? What if you thought you had an archery tag, but really it's a muzzleloader tag? Just those things. Take some precautionary steps. Read our guidebooks. Make sure you know where to go. And if you have questions, our offices are open Monday through Friday, 8 to 5. Call the Division of Wildlife. We've got offices throughout the state that we can help and answer questions.
And he says anyone who sees anyone breaking the law can report it on the Stop Poaching hotline.
When guys are out there, be observant. If you see a violation, if you have something that doesn't look quite right, go ahead, call our UTIP line, our Utah Turn In a Poacher. We have a new system called TIP 411 where you can report it anonymously and we can look into it. We rely very heavily on the public being out there and noticing things that aren't right, giving us a call. So just make sure they're being good witnesses. License plates, if you can get them, a good description of the people, where you're at, what happened, why you're calling. The more information you can get us, the better.
That is Department of Natural Resources Sergeant Devin Christensen. A new gold rush taking place in South Dakota could threaten sacred native land and change the area forever. A gold rush brought settlers to South Dakota's Black Hills roughly 150 years ago, chasing the dream of wealth and displacing Native Americans in the process. Start Here host Brad Milkey tells us now a new crop of miners driven by gold prices at more than $3,000 an ounce want to return to this treasured land.
When I think of gold mining, I think of frontier land. 19th century, men in suspenders and mustaches laboring over wooden rigs and steel pans. From Colorado to California to Alaska, you'd think all the gold in this country had been found long ago. But here in the year 2025, there is a new bona fide gold rush in the Wild West. In the Black Hills of South Dakota, proposals are pouring in for drilling sites and full-fledged mines. Now, you might be thinking, wait, Black Hills, is that where Mount Rushmore is in South Dakota? Yes, it is, but is now also the site of this exploding mining scene.
This is the biggest iron formation hosted gold deposit in the world still today.
That's Jerry Aberle from Dakota Gold speaking to our affiliate KOTA in South Dakota.
This has provided an opportunity for a lot of people to come back to the hills.
These operations are now a lot different from the old days. No more pans and pickaxes. A modern gold mining operation involves huge excavators, multi-layered pits, and vats of cyanide to extract smaller bits of gold from a slurry of other stuff. In fact, these techniques are among the reasons that there is renewed interest now. Lots of gold was hauled away during the Black Hills gold rush of the 1870s, but now the thinking goes, you can get the rest of it.
The best place to look is close to an already known deposit for one just like it.
The other new development here, of course, is the price. Just in the last 6 years, the price of gold has gone from $1,200 an ounce to $3,300 per ounce. It's almost tripled because, economists say, gold always spikes in value in times of inflation and economic uncertainty. Right now, we got both of those, and miners think that will persist for years to come, meaning now is the time to dig in. But with these new projects come lots of concerns. Many worries are environmental. Like if only a small amount of the ground under your feet is gold, what do you do with the other 99.9% of earth you dig up after treating it with chemicals? While companies reassure residents about safe practices, concerns persist about potential contamination to nearby land and water. Many tribes are against these projects. The Sioux Nation says it's seen this movie before. The federal government told them the Black Hills were theirs in 1868, only to take it back a few years later when gold was discovered. The Black Hills Homestake mine in Leeds, South Dakota, was a bustling open-pit mine. Well, within decades, it was barren. It still is, used only now for scientific research. And that's the biggest concern, that once you create an open-pit mine, you really can't undo that. Not for decades or centuries, at least.
While the proposed mining would bring in hundreds of jobs, possibly hundreds of millions of dollars, communities are weighing the cost to the precious land.
KSL FM Midvale.
KSL Salt Lake City.
From the KSL Common Spirit Health Studios, this is KSL News Radio.
Utah's news, traffic, and weather station.
2 police officers killed in the line of duty in Tremonton. Communities now in mourning.
I'm deeply saddened by this tragic and really senseless act of violence that claimed the lives of 2 of our police officers and wounded a county sheriff's deputy and a canine service dog.
The time is 2 o'clock on Monday, August 18th. It's midday. I'm Maria Shilaos. Coming up, more on the officers killed and the way the community members are remembering them. Plus, details on a funeral processional happening tonight. Also this hour,
we're going to start with an executive order that's being written right now by the best lawyers in the country to end mail-in ballots.
President Trump wading into the discussion over mail-in ballots today. We have reaction from county clerks here in Utah. But first, our top stories. Breaking news on KSL News Radio. We now know the identities of the 2 officers killed in the overnight shooting in Tremonton. Police say Sergeant Lee Sorensen and Officer Eric Estrada were shot and killed while responding to a domestic violence situation overnight. KSL reviewed the booking records at the Weber County Jail. 33-year-old Ryan Bate was booked on suspicion of 2 charges of aggravated murder and 1 of assault. Governor Cox is now ordering flags to be flown at half-staff on all state facilities in honor of the fallen officers. This order begins immediately and will continue until Sergeant Sorensen and Officer Estrada are laid to rest. Governor Cox wrote that we owe these heroes a debt that can never be repaid, and we must support law enforcement and the families who have lost their loved ones. Checking in on domestic issues have proven to be extremely dangerous for officers. KSL News Radio's Alexandria Bonilla reports why that may be.
Officers typically go into these calls with just a small piece of information and one side of the story.
It is some of the most emotional times that anyone will ever experience in their life, right? Fighting with a spouse, a loved one, or, even just someone that you're dating is a very intense process for people.
Former Salt Lake City Police Chief Chris Burbank says emotions run high and that can be dangerous, especially if they don't like the state getting involved in their private life.
Burbank says the best way for the public to respond is to advocate for more mental health services and resources for those who may be experiencing some kind of domestic violence. That way it doesn't get to the point where tragedy occurs. Our top national story from ABC News. Ukrainian President Zelensky met with President Trump today in the Oval Office.
Thank you very much for your efforts, personal efforts to stop killings and stop this war.
This comes a few days after President Trump's Alaska summit with Russian President Vladimir Putin. There is no ceasefire deal in place yet. Some detainees at Florida's new immigration center say that they are not able to speak privately with their lawyers, one of several areas they are asking a federal judge in Miami to address. ABC's Brian Clark has details.
A group of detainees at the facility dubbed Alligator Alcatraz says they're being held incommunicado and that they're effectively barred from relief in court. They're asking a federal judge in Miami to order expanded legal access at the facility. Federal and state attorneys say an order is not necessary. They acknowledge there were early communications issues, but says they've been fixed and that there is now a designated court to consider the detainee arguments. Brian Clark, ABC News.
Your money at this moment, the Dow ending the day in negative territory, down 34 points, sitting at 44,912. S&P down by just a fraction, but the NASDAQ up by nearly 7 points. Traffic and weather, it's brought to you by Mountain America's My Style checking account. And here's Ricky Meese.
Nice and quiet on the Valley freeways. No accidents, no delays in Salt Lake County. And if you are traveling southbound Bangerter Highway, the accident that we had in West Valley has cleared at about 2700 South. Step back in time at the Utah Renaissance Fair, August 22nd and 23rd. Enjoy exotic foods, performers, and artisan treasures. Get your tickets now at utahrenfair.org. Let the adventure begin. Ricky Meese in the KSL Traffic Center.
A high today of 95, a lot of sunshine, windy as well. Tomorrow up to 99 and 100 on Wednesday, and then a slight chance of showers moves in for the rest of the week. 93 degrees at the KSL Common Spirit Health Studios.
Mornings are for recharging.
And they're for starting your day right.
We volunteer to join you in the car. Get news and weather at 102.7 FM during the most important part of your day.
Andy and Amanda, each morning between 5 and 9 on KSL News Radio.
Right now at S&S Roofing, get $1,000 off any roof replacement. Plus, you'll get their incredible 50-year worry-free warranty. Dial pound 250 and then say the keyword S&S Roofing for a free bid.
My teen's going back to school. You know what that means. Money for new clothes, supplies, and taco runs with friends. I want him to manage his money wisely, so I opened a Learn and Earn account from Cyprus Credit Union. He can build budgeting, saving, and spending skills, and get up to $200 for making financial independence a priority. Learn more at cypruscu.com.
Cyprus Credit Union, your future is our future.
Insured by NCUA.
Hi, it's Tori DeVito. In every family, small conversations can make a big impact. I grew up on tour with my parents. Kind of different, but we bonded over music just like other families do over sports, camping, or other interests. And we talked. Little everyday conversations from silly to serious that built a foundation over time. Honest conversations, like when my dad shared his experiences as an alcoholic.
Your honesty about that part of your life gave me a sense of integrity that I wanted to uphold in my own life. And I was so grateful that you and Mom had become these sober, stable people who were always there for me.
I wanted you to know from someone who's been in recovery more than 30 years now that hard work is what creates success, not alcohol or other drugs, whether it's music or anything else. I said it a lot, and I'm glad you took it to heart.
Talk, they hear you. For more information about talking with your kids about underage use of alcohol and other drugs, visit underagedrinking.samhsa.gov.
We continue to follow a tragedy in Box Elder County. 2 police officers killed in the line of duty. A sheriff's deputy and his canine companion shot and wounded. The Tremont and Garland communities in mourning today. Thanks for tuning in to Midday. I'm Maria Shilaos. We have special coverage on KSL News Radio. We begin with Eric Cabrera, who joins us live from Tremont this hour. Now, Eric, you've been following this heartbreaking story. We now know more about the suspect, and the community is making plans to honor the fallen. What's the latest?
Maria, we now know it was Sergeant Lee Sorensen and Officer Eric Estrada who lost their lives in the line of duty. Booking documents also obtained by KSL confirmed the suspected gunman is 33-year-old Ryan Bate. He's facing aggravated murder charges after police say he opened fire on Tremont and Garland officers responding to 911 hang-up calls, killing 2 and injuring a Box Elder County deputy and his canine. Here at the scene on 700 North and 200 East, ATF and crime scene investigators are still combing the property for evidence while neighbors look on.
Now, Eric, we understand community leaders spoke earlier this afternoon.
That's right. Box Elder County Commissioner Tyler Vincent announced the cancellation of tonight's horse parade at the county fair. Instead, the community will line the streets with flags and blue ribbons as a solemn procession escorts the officers to funeral homes in Garland and Logan.
Together, we can show our respect and support for their families by lining the streets with American flags and blue ribbons. Families are also welcomed together along the route in solidarity. The procession is expected approximately at 5:30 tonight and will follow the route. This route is exit Interstate 84 into Tremonton, proceed west along Main Street, Borgstrom Brothers Highway. Then we will turn north onto 3rd East, and we will continue to the Rudd Funeral Home at 1234 South Main Street, Garland, Utah, where Officer 1 will be received. The procession will then proceed to the Allen's Funeral Home, 34 East Center Street, Logan, Utah, where Officer 2 will be received.
Eric, definitely a powerful tribute.
Agreed. Commissioner Vincent says while the fair will go on tonight, the focus is on standing together as a community.
But at this point, we need to rally around our officers and show them how much we love and support them and their families.
Eric, before we let you go, what is the mood like among people there today?
You know, it's somber but united. People are already tying blue ribbons to trees here in the neighborhood, and there's a real sense of neighbors wanting to support the families of these officers. What happened here last night has shaken this community, but today they'll line the streets to show they stand together.
That is KSL News Radio's Eric Cabrera live in Tremonton. The tragedy rocks the entire community. I spoke with Tremonton Mayor Lyle Holmgren to find out how his town is doing today with this difficult news.
I'm deeply saddened by this tragic and really senseless act of violence that claimed the lives of two of our police officers and wounded a county sheriff's deputy and a canine service dog. You know, these individuals wear the uniform each day, and they're fully aware of the risks involved, but today we're reminded about their willingness to make this ultimate sacrifice.
Right. Describe for us what is happening in the community. How is the community reacting and rallying around your police department?
Well, there's an outpouring of love, and there's an outpouring of support for these families. We are deeply saddened by what has happened, but we want to let the families know that we are there for them and we support them. And this is a tight-knit agency. We're a tight-knit group, whether it's the staff that works in the city office or if it's the fire department and EMS, or whether it's a police department. We're all a very tight group, and so the loss just seems to be just that much more pronounced as a result of that.
Excuse me. We understand that you were out there with the department early this morning. Can you tell us a little bit about what you were doing to support them and what the mood was like there?
Well, we just I can't claim complete credit for all of this. One of our council members said we need to do something for these officers who are spending the night out watching over this area and securing the area. So we went out and just got burritos and breakfast for these people and took it over to them and told them how much we appreciate them.
Tremonton Mayor Lyle Holmgren speaking on the tragic shooting of police officers in his town. The people living near where this shooting happened say that they can't believe what happened last night and have never experienced anything like it. KSL News Radio's Adam Small continues our special coverage.
When I found out what was going on, I thought, let's go back to Friday and Saturday and just leave this out of our lives.
Arlene Euler lives right next door to the home where the shooting happened. She says her family built her home 70 years ago and says nothing like this has ever happened here.
That's a high price to pay for doing your job.
Nanette and Chris Gamble live just a couple houses further.
A lot of adrenaline right now. I don't know. It's really hard. It's still very much a shock. Yeah.
It just doesn't seem real.
and super sad for the families.
The Gambles say despite how everyone's feeling right now, it's going to be important to rally together and support these officers' families. In Tremont and Adam Small, KSL News Radio.
We'll have more special coverage in just 60 seconds.
You hear that? That's the sound of your business losing money. Legacy phone systems weren't built for today's teams. OpenPhone gives your business a smarter way to stay connected. OpenPhone lets you manage calls, texts, voicemail, and contacts all in one place so that you and your team can deliver a seamless customer experience from ring to... Need to take calls on the go? OpenPhone automatically transcribes, summarizes, and highlights next steps from every call, so you never miss a detail. Need insight into what closes a sale? With OpenPhone's AI call tags, you can instantly spot key topics like objections or pricing questions, and use those insights to coach your team and level up every customer interaction. And yes, you can bring your existing number with you for free. Keep your team in sync and your customers happy with OpenPhone. OpenPhone. No missed calls, no missed customers. Try OpenPhone for free at openphone.com/try and get 20% off your first 6 months. That's openphone.com/try. openphone.com/TRY.
Our special coverage of the tragic shooting in Tremont continues. 2 officers killed, another wounded while responding to calls relating to domestic violence. This morning, Brigham City Police Chief spoke about the dangers among all the unknowns of domestic disturbance calls.
They really are unknown. We don't know what we're walking into, and they are one of the most dangerous events we can be dispatched on. And like I said, these officers have been doing this. They took an oath to protect and serve their communities, and that's what they were doing, and they knew the dangers going into this, and unfortunately they paid the ultimate price.
Former Salt Lake City Police Chief Chris Burbank shares similar feelings, saying that there are several aspects of domestic violence calls that make them so difficult and dangerous. He tells KSL News Radio's Alexandria Bonilla the emotions that play out in these situations mean that there's a lot more on the line, and that can cause people to act out much more intensely.
Very rarely do you get a complete picture of what's going on in a domestic violence call. Usually that comes from the neighbors. Hey, we hear some noise, we hear some screaming, something like this. And then it's kind of go and investigate. Excuse me. Or it's a one-sided, one member of the altercation calls and says, hey, this is what's happening. So again, you just get a one-sided version. And it is some of the most emotional times that anyone will ever experience in their life. Right? Fighting with a spouse, a loved one, or, even just someone that you're dating is a very intense process for people. The other thing that I think is important when you talk about domestic violence, we, the state, are interjecting ourselves into people's personal lives. And there's a lot of people who take affront to that. Right? It's fine to go deal with the crime on the street, but what goes on in my house, don't mess with. And so that is a very, now we're saying, oh no, the cops are going to come in your house and tell you what you can or can't do. And then third, the last thing that I think is very important when we talk about domestic violence, when you look historically, it was in my career that we used to knock on the door and say, hey, knock it off, don't make us come back. Right? It wasn't until the 90s that we started to recognize the violence associated with it, the escalating violence, and actually take some action to interrupt this cycle of violence that mostly women were experiencing.
Burbank says domestic violence is a problem in our society, and he says we can't continue to tolerate any level of violence, not just domestic violence, but violence between people in general. He says it makes him sick.
Well, I think one of the most important things is, one, we as a society need to recognize the problem that this is. Right? It is a significant issue that exists within our society, and the violence that we perpetrate against one another cannot be tolerated. Right? There is not an acceptable level. It becomes almost an insult when we talk about, domestic violence is at this level. Well, at any level, it's inappropriate, and we need to change the outcome.
This afternoon, a procession will take the fallen officers from the Office of the Medical Examiner in Taylorsville back to Box Elder County. The community is invited to stand along the route beginning at 5:30 p.m. at the junction of I-84 and I-15 in Tremont. The route will carry the fallen officers to funeral homes in Garland and Logan. We'll continue to follow this story throughout the day and bring you any additional updates on air and online at kslnewsradio.com. College students back to school today. We are talking all things financial aid. But first, is KSL Traffic brought to you by Mountain America's MyStyle checking account. Ricky?
Valley Freeway traffic rolling along and looking very good. Our main secondaries are also problem-free. Now, if you are going to be traveling northbound in Tooele County on Main Street, SR 36, just be prepared for possible backups due to road work from Mills Junction up to Lake Point at the I-80 junction. Common Spirit hospitals, clinics, and caregivers, all connected to advanced health care in Colorado, Kansas, and Utah. Healthcare with human kindness is here. Hello, human kindness. Ricky Meese in the KSL Traffic Center.
Some things never change. Sure, we've expanded Inside Sources to 3 hours on KSL, and it's on 9 to noon. But the news, traffic reports, and weather updates that have been a part of your ride in the car since before you can remember, always there. And that will never change. Find us in your car at 102.7 FM.
What are you doing every day to support your liver? If you enjoy sweets, fast food, alcohol, or take any medications, that's a vital question to ask. Hi, I'm Sherry Torkas, pharmacist and health author. For over 30 years, I've helped people make informed decisions about their health, especially concerning prevention and long-term wellness. Supporting your liver isn't just a wellness trend, it's a daily essential. That's why I recommend Active Liver by New Nordic. It's made with plant-based ingredients like milk thistle, turmeric, and globe artichoke, herbs clinically studied for their protective and restorative effects on the liver. Active Liver blends traditional herbal wisdom with modern scientific research. Not all supplements are created equal. I trust Active Liver because it's backed by science, meets strict quality standards, and delivers true daily liver support.
Protect your liver and give it the support that it deserves by making Active Liver from New Nordic part of your daily wellness routine. Find Active Liver in stores at your local CVS, Meijer Grocery, or online at Amazon or newnordicusa.com.
When you take your grandkids to Disney, do they know what's in your investment portfolio? Do they even care? They're busy having a great time, and you're busy making memories. At Galileo Wealth Management, we understand the nuts and bolts of retirement planning, our investments, the stock market, taxes, Social Security, Medicare, and more. But think about it. What are you trying to do here? Is your goal to beat the S&P? Or is your goal to make memories with your family? Our goal is to give you the confidence to spend in retirement without the fear of running out of money. Call Todd Kim at Galileo Wealth Management today. 801-516-3227. That's 801-516-3227. Or go online to GalileoWealth.com. Let Todd Kim and Galileo Wealth Management help you make memories, not just money.
This is the story of the one. As a lineman, he does whatever it takes to keep the power on in his community. And he wants a partner like Grainger who does the same. Grainger offers the professional-grade products he needs, from voltage detectors to harnesses to hard hats, plus fast, dependable delivery, so he can rise to every challenge. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
This is the story of the one. As a safety manager at a manufacturing plant, he does everything he can to keep his coworkers safe. From finding ways to reduce risks to keeping safety supplies in stock. And for that, he relies on Grainger. Grainger offers a broad range of quality products and next-day delivery, so he can always play it safe. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
You were listening to Midday. I'm Maria Shilaos. KSL in the classroom. Many students returning to school in the Davis School District today, and they've stepped into brand new buildings. The district was able to update 2 schools and build a new one thanks to a $475 million bond passed in 2022. District spokesman Chris Williams says the 2 updated schools were more than 50 years old and they wanted to open things up, building larger classrooms, common areas, and to let in more light.
We have 3 buildings that we recently had ribbon cuttings for, one Tuesday, one yesterday, and another one here just about 4 o'clock this afternoon. The schools are a new Sunset Junior High School replacing an older Sunset Junior High School that was built in 1964. The second school is a new Bonhoeffer Elementary School that replaces an older Bonhoeffer Elementary School that was built in 1950. And then we have a brand new Horizon Junior High School that is out in West Point. So each one of these schools has its own different feel. I think if what parents should expect from their students when they arrive home from these schools is just absolute excitement about the new building that they're in.
The principal of the brand new Horizon Junior High in West Point, Brett Sims, says it will accommodate the growth that they've seen in the area.
The future of this school is limitless. We have a lot of different programs that we can offer here. We also have flex spaces to allow classroom rotations. When we grow to bursting at the seams, we can handle a lot of students because of that forward thinking of rotating classrooms, having opportunities within different classrooms and flexible learning spaces. There are amazing places within this building that just kind of overtakes me, right? Takes my breath away to be able to see the opportunities that our students are going to have coming to this building.
Davis School Board member Emily Price is grateful that voters supported the $475 million bond.
I appreciate that our community supports and values public education. It truly will be an incredible place for learning and growth for our children in this northwest part of Davis County.
And Williams says 3 other projects being paid for by that bond are still underway.
We have 3 other big projects going on right now. We have a CTE center under construction at Bonhoeffer High School, Layton High School, and Clearfield High School. So those 3 projects are pretty much the end of the funding for our 2022 bond election proposal. But right now, this is an exciting time for our school district. And like my mom always told me, school is the best invention ever made.
Chris Williams is a spokesperson for the Davis School District. More than 72,000 kids are back to school today in that district. Tuition is top of mind as thousands of college students head back to class today. Financial aid experts at the University of Utah are helping students navigate changes in federal aid that are coming about as a result of the latest budget approved by Congress. Anthony Jones is executive director of U Scholarships and Financial Aid, and he tells KSL News Radio's Don Brinkerhoff that changes are complicated at best.
The number one thing we're trying to convey to students and families is that there's more information to come because most of these changes don't go into effect until next school year, 26-27. We're trying to understand them more deeply. But for some students, the loan levels are increasing. Other students, they're staying the same. Certain loan programs are going away. So we're trying to identify what other options are available for students who need to have assistance to help pay for their college costs. But I think the bottom line is to ask questions where concerns are, because, for example, I was talking to a student and their family who said they were a graduate student. They were in their master's program, and they said, "Well, I'm going to lose this Grad Plus loan." I said, "Yes, but you're going into a program where that annual borrowing limit is going to increase for next year, and you've not borrowed more than that increase is going to be." So for that student, that worked out. There are other students, though, who may have challenges. So I don't have a simple answer other than there's more information coming as we dig in more deeply and understand how different groups of students are affected.
Graduate students will feel the biggest impact because there will no longer be federally funded Graduate Plus loans. But Jones says fewer changes are being made with the Pell Grants.
Fortunately, the Pell Grant isn't changing too dramatically. There is some new eligibility for very short-term programs. None of those are here at the U, but there's other programs that are less than a semester in length for the entire program will now be eligible for Pell. So there may be some at the technical schools. The other thing with Pell is students who have their full cost of attendance covered by other aid may not get their Pell Grant anymore like they used to before. So that those changes aren't as significant. Where the significant changes come in are with the federal student loan programs. So for undergraduates, for the most part, things aren't changing too dramatically. Parents needed to borrow the parent loan. There are going to be some new restrictions lowering the annual and aggregate total limit that they can borrow, whereas before there was no limit. So there may be a little bit of somewhat of a pinch there for the amount that people could borrow for students pursuing their bachelor's. Where I think some of the bigger changes come in are for students pursuing their master's or their doctoral degree. Those annual limits increased, which is a positive, but when those limits aren't going to be enough, what's called the graduate plus loan is done away with. So that has been being eliminated. So, it's some good news, some bad news, and I think what we're trying to look at is then what are the other options? Primarily right now it's looking like the private loans from banks that are not part of the federal student loan system may be an option, but it's still a little early to tell what groups need that focus and may need to turn to the private loans.
The good news is that families have a year to decide how to manage their tuition costs. The changes in financial aid in the recently passed reconciliation bill do not take effect until next school year. And the other good news is it won't have a big impact on those Pell Grants. It's 2:30, midday at KSL News Radio. I'm Maria Shilaos. Some of the stories we are watching this hour. Mail-in voting, could it be heading out the door? President Trump says he will sign an executive order to do away with it. A new wildfire sending a plume of smoke high into the air above Utah County. And KSL traffic. Ricky?
A vehicle fire. The smoke is starting to ease. The flames have been put out southbound on I-215 in West Valley. Maria?
Things heating up. We're headed for a high today of 95 degrees, but 100 degrees by Wednesday. KSL's top local stories coming up in just 1 minute. But first, let's get the latest from ABC News.
This is a special report from ABC News. I'm Michelle Franzen. At the White House, President Trump leading a working group with Ukraine's President Zelensky and European leaders. Britain's Prime Minister Keir Starmer and EU leaders pushing for Russia to agree to an immediate ceasefire.
We could take a really important step forward today, a historic step, actually, could come out of this meeting in terms of security for Ukraine and security in Europe.
President Trump says after his meeting Friday with Russia's leader in Alaska, it is not likely.
For weeks, the president had been saying that Vladimir Putin had to agree to a ceasefire. He put a timeline on it, saying that he had to do that within 8 to 10 days or else Russia was going to face severe consequences. He was threatening sanctions. He was threatening tariffs, also sanctions on countries that do business with Russia, buying their energy and oil. And yet now the president is saying he doesn't need to see a ceasefire, that he wants to see this conflict go straight to a peace agreement.
ABC's Karen Travers. This is ABC News.
KSL's top local story. Police have now identified the two police officers shot and killed overnight in Tremonton. Officer Eric Estrada and Sergeant Lee Sorensen were killed while responding to a domestic dispute call. A third officer and a canine were wounded, but both are expected to make a full recovery. The suspect was booked into the Weber County Jail. Governor Cox has ordered flags to be flown half-staff in honor of the fallen officers. We will have complete team coverage coming up on Jeff Kaplan's Afternoon News. It's the first day back at the University of Utah, and those with a concealed carry permit are now allowed to openly carry on campus. KSL News Radio's Brianna Willis has more.
The University of Utah's policy changed back in May, and the school says they have only changed to show they are in line with Utah state law. During the last legislative session, state law was changed to allow anyone 18 and older with a concealed carry permit to carry a gun on campus, including in an open carry style. The university previously has allowed those with a concealed carry permit to bring a weapon, but only if it remained concealed.
University still encourages you to call campus police if you see someone with a gun on campus. If the person doesn't have a permit, they could face up to a year of jail time. A 35-year-old man is facing felony charges after police say he tried to kill his wife. Alberto Domingo Seco was charged today with attempted murder, aggravated assault, and making a threat of violence. Police say his wife reported the alleged assault in June, accusing Seco of holding a knife blade to her cheek while threatening to kill her, then trying to strangle her before punching her in the face. She was able to get away and call for help. Seco was arrested over the weekend. President Trump is calling for an end to mail-in voting.
In a social media post this morning, President Trump says he's going to lead a movement to get rid of mail-in ballots. But that's our primary voting method here in Utah. Davis County Clerk Brian McKenzie says voting by mail is invaluable to many of our citizens.
A lot of times people look at vote by mail and are just thinking of it as a convenience factor. We have to recognize that there are a number of citizens in our communities that going to a polling location physically is a challenge.
But Utah County Clerk Aaron Davidson says he's seen the problems with mail-in voting firsthand when ballots in his county didn't get counted because the mail delivery was late.
Almost 1,300 voters that felt like they were turning in their ballot on time and they were disenfranchised.
Britt Johnson, KSL News Radio.
Your money at this moment, the Dow ending the day down 34 points to end at 44,911. S&P down by just a fraction, and the NASDAQ, it was up by about 7 points. Traffic and weather, it's brought to you by Mountain America's My Style checking account. Here's Ricky Meese.
We do have a vehicle fire on southbound I-215's West Belt in West Valley prior to 3500 South. Now, crews temporarily stopped traffic across all lanes in order to battle the blaze. The smoke is now gone and only a right lane remains blocked, but we have heavy residual delays back to the 201 junction. While you're planning your day, plan for comfort too with the Good Feet store. Find the location nearest you at goodfeet.com. Ricky Meese in the KSL Traffic Center.
Well, school may be back in session, but still summer-like temperatures. We're headed for a high of 100 degrees on Wednesday. Slight chance of showers by the end of the week. Right now, 93 degrees at the KSL Common Spirit Health Studios.
A reminder about the simplest way to get updated for your day.
Hit your KSL preset when you jump in the car, and we'll take care of the rest.
Hear key news updates and traffic reports.
Andy and Amanda from 5 to 9 in your car.
KSL News Radio at 102.7 FM.
Hey, it's Mike Rohn. If I have a choice, I like to do business with companies that actually stand for something. That's why I switched from Verizon to Pure Talk. No offense to Verizon, I'm sure they stand for something. I just don't know what it is. Pure Talk, on the other hand, is a veteran-owned company that supports our military in a big way, and I appreciate that. Yeah, I also appreciate unlimited talk and text and plenty of data for half the cost of the big guys, and I do like being on America's most dependable 5G network for just $20 a month, but what I really appreciate is no contract, no cancellation fees, and Pure Talk's commitment to handle all their customer service in this country. I saw it for myself. I went to Georgia, I got a tour of their headquarters, I met their CEO, and I talked to the same customer service folks that you'll talk to when you dial pound 250 and say keyword micro. Switch today and save 50% off your first month when you dial pound 250 and say keyword micro. Pure Talk. A wireless company that actually stands for something.
Hi, Grandma. What's for dinner?
Hey, honey, I'm making stew tonight.
Ooh, can Nina come over?
I'm not sure about our new friend. I wonder if there's been any drinking going on. Alcohol at her age can lead to so many bad things. I've been meaning to ask you, what would happen if someone offered you a drink?
Grandma?
This is hard. She's so young, but I know I need to talk to her about it now before someone tries to give her alcohol. If anyone ever does offer you a drink, I want you to say no. I have too much respect for my family, and I don't want to get in trouble.
Okay.
Really?
I promise, Grandma. I love you too.
Okay, how about tasting this stew and telling me what you think?
Some children may try alcohol as young as 9 years old. It's not too early to talk about drinking. For tips on how to begin the conversation, visit underagedrinking.samhsa.gov. That's underagedrinking.samhsa.gov. This message brought to you by SAMHSA and this station.
You are listening to Midday. I'm Maria Shilaos. President Trump looking to end the process of mail-in voting nationwide. Today he told reporters that this process is corrupt.
Mail-in ballots are corrupt. Mail-in ballots, you can never have
a real democracy with mail-in ballots. And we, as a Republican Party, are going to do everything possible that we get rid of mail-in ballots.
He says he's working on an executive order right now to get rid of the option.
We're going to start with an executive order that's being written right now by the best lawyers in the country to end mail-in ballots.
KSL News Radio's Britt Johnson spoke with a few county clerks in Utah to get their perspectives on the possible move. Davis County Clerk Brian McKenzie says he sees a lot of problems with ending vote by mail.
The pros of vote by mail is it allows an option that meets our lifestyles right now, how busy we are. It is the very best method to notify a voter of what's on their ballot, to give the voter the best opportunity to research those issues and make informed decisions. And then with our current model in Utah, it allows the voter the most options to choose how they cast their ballot. If we restrict that, that is the key word. There will be some restrictions on options to our voters. And I think any changes that we make to our voting method, that should be considered. And if we're going to restrict and if we're going to limit those options or those opportunities, we should make sure that there's good justification for doing that.
Down in Utah County, Clerk Aaron Davidson welcomes the move, saying he sees issues with mail-in voting.
I personally like in-person voting. I love going to the polling locations and voting myself, and I've done it all the time. But I understand, the world's become more complex. It's not easy for some people to get there on election day. So they need an alternative. What I don't like is I don't trust the U.S. Postal Service. There is no chain of custody when somebody returns their ballot to the U.S. Postal Service. There's no chain of custody. We don't know what's happened with that ballot. And people get this sense of security of using the Postal Service, and they feel that they can just, the U.S. Postal Service is going to get it postmarked properly and get it back to us properly. And that's been evidenced here in Utah that is not the case. So far, we've had 1,264 ballots returned to the U.S. Postal Service where we didn't get it on time. So those are probably, almost 1,300 voters that felt like they were turning in their ballot on time and they were disenfranchised. But the way that the law works is we cannot count those ballots.
McKenzie also says he sees several logistical problems and hurdles that they would need to clear in order to implement the president's orders. Utah County Clerk Aaron Davidson says he agrees.
If a state was no longer able to provide vote by mail as a voting method, if Utah had to make this change, we'd have to seek different solutions. Number one, we'd have to, of course, find polling locations, in-person voting locations for our citizens to go to. It's been a while since we've done that. While we do have some voting centers throughout the state, we would need a lot more. Right now in Davis County, we have 15 on a normal election. We would be going from 15 to probably 100 to 115 in order to accommodate our citizens on Election Day. So that's the first challenge that we'd have to overcome. Additionally, you'd want to make sure that you have the infrastructure in place. So things as simple as voting booths, making sure that you have enough places for people to stand and mark their ballot. You also have to look at technology. Are voters going to continue to vote on the paper ballot that they have? Then we need to make sure that we have printers and ballot on demand stations to provide those. Or are they going to be voting on some sort of a voting device, a touchscreen machine of some sort? And so it's those infrastructure pieces that would need to be purchased and acquired and trained, and the logistics of getting that set up with a different voting approach.
President Trump has continued to claim that his 2020 election loss was due to fraud, including what he claims was fraud dealing with mail-in voting. There has been no legitimate evidence that widespread fraud led to his loss 5 years ago. The massive plume of smoke rising above Utah County as the new Buckley Draw fire burns in the mountains south of Provo. Now, it sparked last night near Slate Canyon. As of this morning, it has burned more than 400 acres. Joining me live for an update on the situation is Sierra Hellstrom, Public Information Officer for Northern Utah Type 3 Incident Management Team. And Sierra, thanks for being with me.
Thanks for having me on.
Get us up to date. What's the latest on the fire?
Honestly, the biggest issue right now is we have had our fourth drone incursion in 24 hours.
Oh, no.
And it's a very scary situation. We cannot impress the gravity of this situation. that we cannot fly our aircraft when there is personal unauthorized aircraft in the air. It leaves our firefighters on the mountain at risk, and it gives great risk to the air pilots and our air attack in the air. And 4 in 24 hours is just an unacceptable number. We have brought in a drone locator and hoping to start finding these, but we ask the public to share and to look out for these and call in if you have any information, because this is putting firefighters' lives at risk.
What is happening with the fire itself at this point? How many acres have burned, and is it what kind of vegetation is it burning in right now?
So it started down in the hillside in the grassy area and has burned up into the timber. We're still saying about 400 acres. One of the difficulties is our infrared flights are only really beneficial at night, because during the day, if you fly, all heat sources, including hot rocks, will show up on the infrared flight. So we likely won't get an accurate, updated acreage until this evening, and that's including containment. Right now we're at 0% containment, and we won't see any of that. Usually you'll notice those get updated in the evening as we get crews off of the hill.
Are there any homes or anything like that threatened at this point?
We currently have the community closest to the forest boundary up here in evacuation status yellow, which in our ready, set, go means set. It means start preparing, thinking about what you would take, maybe packing some essentials just in case. But at this time, there are no evacuations.
Now, are you concerned that this fire could shift and burn down the mountain towards those homes?
Luckily here, we tend to have prevailing winds mostly from the west, and we don't have any predicted weather of storms that would come in and shift that, unlike what we had up on Willard Peak just a few days ago. So as of right now, we don't anticipate a wind shift to switch the direction that the fire is burning. But as always, our number one priority are people and property. So we're being very careful to prioritize that western perimeter, make sure that we can get it buttoned up first before heading up the mountain. And we do have crews that are hiked up in today working that perimeter and see if they can start to make some progress on containment.
On that Willard Peak fire, you did have some trails that were closed. Do you have anything like that with this fire?
We do. We basically have the entire forest area closed on this side from clear north of the Y down to the next canyon. And forgive me, I going off just a couple hours sleep here, cannot remember the name of that southern border there. So we're just asking the public to stay out of the area. And then it does go, the forest closure goes across over onto the Wasatch back. All of the campgrounds on that backside over by Kai Peak and stuff, the campgrounds are still open, but all of the trails are closed. So basically either side of the mountain right here on the west side of Provo.
Sarah, do we have any idea as to the cause of this fire?
It's still under investigation. It's where the point of origin is still pretty active fire behavior where it's unsafe to get a fire investigator into that area at this time. And while we completely understand the significance of figuring out cause, it's more important not to put a firefighter investigator's life at risk to get in there. So once fire behavior dies down at the point of origin, we'll be able to get them in and do an accurate investigation.
Well, Sierra, we appreciate you. Hope you can get some sleep soon. Thanks so much for being with me.
Thanks.
And joining me, that is Sierra Hellstrom, the Public Information Officer for the Northern Utah Type 3 Incident Management Team. Boy, they've had a busy summer. And Midday will continue in just 60 seconds.
Hi, this is Doug Wright. For years now, I've been telling you about Connecticut soft water systems that use 2/3 less salt than the others. But I've never told you exactly how they do that. Well, there are several ways, so consider this as part one in a series. Most of the softeners out there use a finicky, hard-to-adjust computer to guesstimate when to cycle, and it errs on the side of cycling too often, which means it'll burn through way too much salt way too soon. Connecticut is different. It has an all-mechanical system that measures the water precisely. No computer, no guesstimating, so it cycles only when needed. The result? Connecticut delivers perfectly soft water 24/7 using minimal salt. So why not save your lower back from carrying the 3 bags of salt when all you need is 1? Call Northern Utah's authorized Connecticut dealer, Connecticut Quality Water Systems of Salt Lake. Call them now, 801-576-8600, or log on to softwaterutah.com and tell them Doug sent you.
The threat of tariffs doesn't appear to be stopping Utahns from spending. A report from the Kempsey Gardner Policy Institute and the Salt Lake Chamber shows Utahns are continuing to buy things.
Utah is not immune from the challenges around the world and not even the nation, but we really are an economic island of tranquility in the sea of chaos. There's no state doing it better than Utah, and that's because of Utahns. They're the ones that are doing a great job in making this state prosper.
Salt Lake Chamber President and CEO Derek Miller says one of the things helping our economy continue to do so well is job growth. He says over the last 12 months, the rate of growth has more than doubled that of the U.S. overall.
And the really good news for Utah is that we're performing better than almost every state out there. I'll just mention one data point to illustrate what I've said, and that's in job growth. Our job growth year over year is at 2.3%, which is more than double the national job growth rate of 1%. So we certainly have economic headwinds look at the global trade wars that are happening, look at inflation that's going up slightly, but we'd rather it was going down slightly and more than slightly than going up. But all of that aside, Utah's economy is doing well, and it has everything to do with our fundamentals. So most other states are waking up in the morning and wishing they were us.
Miller says another big factor is that many of the threatened tariffs have not become a reality.
So a lot of the really risky tariffs that would have gone up, 100, 200, 300%, these are all headlines, but they're not reality. The reality is, number two, is that tariffs have increased somewhat. Now we're talking about 10% or 15%, not 100% or 150%, but it has an impact. So far, by and large, that impact has been absorbed by the sellers, the U.S. sellers that are importing these goods. And it's by and large not getting passed on to the consumer. So a couple of things that make that important, and you've hit the nail on the head. Number one, not only are we seeing our sales steady, we saw them increase by 5%. So that's great news for Utah's economy because, like the nation, Utah is a consumer economy. The gasoline that makes the engine run or the electricity that makes your e-vehicle run is consumption, is buying things. And the way that people buy things is that they have money, and the way they get money is they have a job. So this is all, of course, tied in together. As our job numbers increase, more people have a job, more people are buying things, and the economy gets stronger and stronger. And in Utah, that virtuous cycle is working.
He says a lot of companies that were sitting on their high inventory due to the threat worries are now trying to reduce their inventory. BYU Cougar fans, a new nightly show is coming your way. All BYU sports all the time. I'll tell you about this new show next. But first, it's KSL Emergency Traffic. It's brought to you by Mountain America's MyStyle checking account. Ricky?
It's the vehicle fire in West Valley, still blocking a right lane of traffic southbound. I-215's West Belt. It's prior to 3500 South, and that has back traffic past the 201 junction with some heavy slow and go and stop and go delays. Discover the art of adventure in Cedar City, the gateway to parks, plays, high elevation recreation, ATV and downhill trails, chairlift rides, topped off with unique shops and savory bites. Plan a visit at visitcedarcity.com. Ricky Meese in the KSL Traffic Center.
Sign up for KSL Text Alerts. Get breaking news and traffic updates by texting the word news to 57500. Want access to exclusive contests? Text contest to 57500. Jazz fans, text the word jazz for breaking jazz updates. And Cougar fans, text BYU to 57500 for the latest on the Cougars. Message and data rates may apply.
Join KSL in the movie show this Friday, 10 to 1 at the Salt Lake NPS store, 1600 Empire Road in Salt Lake City, npsstore.com.
When it's hot like this, air conditioners struggle to keep up. Parts are under more stress, and sometimes those parts fail. What's up, everybody? I'm Mike Wilson with Any Hour Services, and no one helps more homeowners maintain and repair their air conditioners than Any Hour Services. As a matter of fact, last year, over 32,000 homeowners called Any Hour Services for help maintaining and repairing their systems. Any Hour Services has over 100 HVAC technicians to help with everything from maintenance, repair, to installing a new system. This summer, there'll be a lot of people told they need to replace their air conditioner, and they'll wonder, do I really need to? If you're told you need to replace your air conditioner and you still have questions, Any Hour Services can give you a second opinion and let you know what options are available. Maybe it just needs a little maintenance or a small repair. Maybe it does need to be replaced, but if you don't feel good about being told you need to replace your air conditioner, don't ignore those feelings. Call Any Hour Services for help with air conditioner maintenance, repair, or to schedule a free second opinion. Google Any Hour Services or schedule online at anyhourservices.com. No one helps more homeowners than Any Hour Services.
Worried about market losses? If headlines are keeping you up at night, it's time to take control. Hi, I'm Jeff Jr. with Trajan Wealth, and I know you've worked hard to save. But in times like these, what if can turn into what now? If you're planning to retire or are in retirement, you need a strategy that helps protect your future. At Trajan Wealth, you can capture market gains, protect your account from losses, and guarantee income for life. Right now, you could receive a bonus of up to 30% or annual growth of up to 10% for retirement income. You heard me right. An upfront bonus of up to 30% or annual growth of up to 10%, all guaranteed to boost your lifetime income in retirement. Don't leave your future to chance. Plan with confidence. Call Trajan today at 801-899-7600. That's 801-899-7600.
Annuity guarantees are based on the claims paying ability of the issuing insurance company, DBA, in most states, as Trajan Wealth Insurance Solutions.
Did you hear? A recent stash of $10 gold Liberty coins from the 1800s has been found. These gorgeous gold coins are as bright and shiny as the day they were struck in the late 1800s, and less than 200 of these gold coins are available. Coin experts are calling this gold find an incredible opportunity. Call 1-800-917-4635, and you are guaranteed a $10 gold Liberty coin minted by the U.S. Mint in the 1800s. But with extremely limited availability, you must call now. These gold Liberty coins from the 1800s are still in uncirculated condition. That is history you can hold in your hand. To learn more, call 1-800-917-4635. Call now and you'll receive a free American Coin Collector's Bonus Package, a $40 value, free with every order. Call 1-800-917-4635 now to secure your $10 gold Liberty coins dated from the 1800s before they sell out. That's 1-800-917-4635.
This is Midday. I'm Maria Shilaos. Back to school with technology. ABC's Mike Dubusky has more in today's tech trends.
Laptops aren't everything when it comes to back-to-school tech. Engadget's deputy editor of buying advice, Valentina Palladino, says accessories are important too, such as
a kind of wireless or Bluetooth mouse and keyboard. You might not take it with you all the time, but if you have a desk or some sort of table that you use as like your base station when you're studying or really getting work done, you don't want to be like hunched over your laptop for hours on end.
Many colleges and universities offer free cloud storage to their students, but Palladino says it's good to have a backup too.
Having another place to save something like a portable SSD can give you just another place in case something fails, in case your laptop breaks down or in case you can't access your cloud storage provider.
And in case any of that stuff goes missing,
a good Bluetooth tracker like AirTags is really important, especially if you're going back to a big campus. You want to make sure you can keep track of your things.
With Tech Trends, I'm Mike Dubusky, ABC News.
College football season is just around the corner. KSL News Radio is your legacy home of the BYU Cougars, and tonight we are launching a new daily Cougar Track show to keep you up to speed with all things BYU sports.
Cannot wait. It's going to be a lot of fun every night, 6:30 p.m., talking BYU sports, obviously football, basketball. We're going to be focused on the teams that are on these airwaves, and it's going to be a whole lot of fun. Great interviews with players, coaches, and analysis and insight that I don't think you can find anywhere else. So I cannot wait to get this thing started.
KSL Sports BYU insider Mitch Harper will host the show. He joined Utah's Morning News to give a preview, all things you can look forward to in this nightly program.
30 minutes every night, so I'll take phone calls reacting to games on Mondays. We'll have great interviews with players, coaches, analysis analyst, and I'm going to give my insight, intel, background knowledge of what's going on with these BYU sports teams. So it's going to be a lot of fun. 30 minutes every single night. It's just a great way to connect with BYU sports, and every Cougar fan can just connect at a deep, intense level to know everything they need to know about BYU sports this year.
One of the biggest things to watch with BYU football is their selection of a new quarterback, and Mitch says there are a few people leading out in the pack. Regardless of who BYU picks to lead the team, though, there are drawbacks and risks.
I think that both McKay Hillstead and Bear Bachmeier can win football games for BYU. I think the risk of starting a true freshman is that you have to go all in on him. You don't unseat him, even if there's struggles. And there's going to be probably games where it's a head-scratching performance against someone that you would think BYU should beat. That's the risk of a true freshman. Whereas McKay Hillstead, he's been in the program for a year, very talented, probably the best athlete in the quarterback unit. But you can't deny the talent, the potential of Bear Bachmeier. There's just been moments in camp where you see him and you think, man, if you can get that every single week, those type of throws, that arm, that size, that's pretty exciting. And he's a guy that fits quite well with the type of quarterbacks that Aaron Roderick has had a lot of success with. So I think it can work, but you just got to think that there's going to be some ups and downs when you're starting a true freshman. BYU's only started 8 true freshman quarterbacks in its history. Never has a true freshman started in week 1. So it would be historic if Bear Bachmeier does, in fact, get the nod 12 days from today.
Okay, you can hear more tonight beginning at 6:30 on the new nightly Cougar Track Show right here on KSL News Radio. Jeff Kaplan is joining me. This means that you get off a half hour early.
I think I'll hang out just in case something happens, though.
Right? Okay.
So I'm not talking, but I'm here. I just want to point that out.
Okay, Jeff Kaplan's Afternoon News is next. Have a great day.
KSL FM Midvale.
KSL Salt Lake City.
From the KSL Common Spirit Health Studios, this is KSL News Radio.